Right back. What's good, y'all? Rahul. And so it is. The death of the dragon. Right? If you've been walking, which a lot of y'all have, you know it's me who come on and connect all the dots when people are seeing things and they may or may not be figuring out why the shit is taking place. I come on and I connect the dots. So what just took place recently, and I'm gonna be jumping over here on Google to show, some of these things, or at least to pull these things up to have it and show y'all where I can go find these things. What just took place recently, let's type it in, Killer Mike arrested, right? Now, if y'all know, if you've been walking with me, I met Killer Mike in 2019. And interestingly enough, going on 20 years old, one of them. Or it might have been 2018. I think it was 2018 I met him because I was 19. Yeah, I was 19 when I met Killer Mike. He went on live. He had some other females that was on live for him. And he was walking around in the back and he was talking to some of the people who was fans of him. Right? One of his fans got on and started talking to his ass about some sports. You know what I mean? Like some whatever the fuck, some sports, whoever the hell was winning at the time. It might have been basketball, football, one of the fucking sports teams. I don't know nothing about that shit. So I waited because I kept sending the requests, trying to see if they'll be able to pull me up. They pulled me up and I started speaking to Killer Mike and I was explaining to him my age, who I was, where I was from, Atlanta, what I stood for, how I was one of those people who were actual activists, not just playing like they active and all this, stuff that people know about now, years later after all the work that's been put in up to this point. And I seen him back there listening and stuff like that to what I was saying. But after, in the middle of what I was saying, the nigga was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. He said, I'm too hot for all that shit right now. He said, I'm too hot for all that. Right? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm too hot for all that. You know what I mean? He was like, but you can just DM me and I'll get in contact with you, da-da-da-da-da. And what's so crazy, I had already been DMing him, trying to reach out to him about the same exact thing. First of all, you from Atlanta. You a big artist from Atlanta. You were closely associated, especially through people like African Bambaataa, the Right Knowledge movement. You understand? That's why a lot of the stuff that he talk about come from that conscious realm. You understand? Because of his bloodline, for one, and who was exposed to that green light. You in Atlanta, a young boy, 19 years old, is explaining to you that he is actually sincere about fighting for the people and all this other stuff that everybody throwing around now, like it's a piece of badge that, they just got yesterday. You see him fighting for this, and you told him you was, quote unquote, too high to have the conversation. I noted the shit out of that. And from then, I never fucked with Killer Mike. You know what I'm saying? And I always let people know, for one, if you meet me and you don't see that green light, if you meet me, especially at the age that I was back then, and you didn't know that you weren't supposed to tell me that you were too high to have the conversation about a revolution when this ain't no fucking job that you clock out of. You weren't too high to have a conversation about sports. You understand? And you weren't too high to fix your mouth to tell me you were too high to have a conversation about all this revolutionary conscious evolution shit that everybody kick it like they give a fuck about. You understand? Because to them, the cameras wasn't on. I wasn't nobody. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't mean shit, but it would go on to mean a lot of things. So I never fucked with Killer Mike after that. And he might not have even known I was a part of the same dissertation that he was a part of when the brother Garfield Bright, who was a part of the group Shy, right, came through and he met me when I was younger. We got all kind of documentaries that we filmed that we ain't never released yet, right? Things that I was over. I was over the editing and everything. And he had something called Raw Inc., Raw Incorporated. And when I was 16 years old, we used to meet up. It was him and like 3 other brothers. We'd meet up. We'd do ciphers. We'd be breaking things down. All that stuff is recorded. So he hit me up and he was like, yo, he wanted me to become a part of his dissertation because he was teaching at Georgia State. And he said he wanted to feature me in his actual dissertation. And I'm featured in it. So if you go look up Omari Hargrove, Garfield Bright, right, or Omari Hargrove, Soul in a Can, you'll see that I'm featured in the same exact dissertation that Killer Mike is featured in. But he never asked me my name. He never asked me who I was and none of that. And people like Garfield Bright held him in high regard. So when I went ahead and told Garfield Bright that, he was a little shook. You know what I'm saying? That was even the response. And he was like, Omari, he said, man, he said, Faise. He said, you like the litmus test. He said, anybody that say they are something, when you meet them, it's like, okay, are those real diamonds? You understand? You take out the diamond tester and we're going to see. Or we're going to use this litmus tester and we're going to see what's your alkaline state or your acidic state at that point in time. We're going to test it to say, if you true blue, it's going to show up when I show up. You understand? So they weren't really picking up on that. So he thought I was somebody that he could just tell off. That's just a little background about how I didn't encounter him before. And it made sense to me when the shit went down in with the George Floyd explosion, when they had all them rituals brewing through the cities, and people had "Fuck Killer Mike" spray painted all the way all through downtown Centennial Park, on the bridges and everything, because we was outside when Killer Mike told niggas to go outside and burn everything down. He said, burn this motherfucker to the ground. It was him and Clifford, T.I., said, go burn this shit down, right? Then as soon as niggas went outside, because them two niggas from Atlanta told us to go outside, as soon as niggas, ask me how I know. Was I on my couch? Ask me how I know. Because I went my ass outside with them niggas. As soon as I seen niggas was on TV, I was in the middle of literally shooting a video. And I told them niggas, I'll be back. And I went to go. It took me 15 minutes to get there, right? Which is another thing I was saying. If it took me 15 minutes to get downtown, y'all niggas from Atlanta, how the fuck y'all make it to the news station to talk to niggas who actually can talk to them? You don't think if Killer Mike and T.I. would have showed up where niggas was at, that we wouldn't have listened? You don't think we wouldn't have even at least heard what they had to say? But the crazy thing is, they were the ones who incited those so-called riots. They were the ones who incited those protests, because as soon as it was Milwaukee, Minneapolis, and the rest of them, T.I. was like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Atlanta, I'm waiting on y'all. Remember that bullshit? He kept doing that us or else shit. He's like, Atlanta, I'm waiting on y'all. Okay, Atlanta got dressed, they got up, and they went out there, and they burnt shit. You know what I'm saying? How motherfuckers like burn shit to the ground. They burnt the police car, they burnt the ice cream truck. I was standing right there. You understand? But then niggas went home later and seen that the niggas who told them to go outside was on the news asking them why they was outside. And I'm the only one scratching my head say, y'all niggas was the ones who told niggas to get active. Mm-hmm. So when niggas watched the news and then was like, whoa, what the fuck? When they was like, yo, you can't do this. Remember when T.I. said that stupid ass shit? You like, yo, this is Wakanda. It must be protected. Remember that dumb ass shit? Okay, T.I. probably didn't even want to get his ass up. They probably went and got T.I. because they know you and Killer Mike, T.I. and Killer Mike was the ones who told niggas to go outside. So they went and got T.I. and Killer Mike and brought the niggas on the news and said, tell them to shut that shit down. Oh, niggas did not like that. Niggas went downtown the next day. I was with niggas. And niggas was spray painting "Fuck Killer Mike." I didn't spray paint "Fuck Killer Mike," but I stood back there. I ain't telling them to stop spray painting it. And I seen niggas spray paint in red letters "Fuck Killer Mike" all over the little bridge down there in front of the Centennial Ferris wheel, right there by the CNN building where the skateboards and bricks got through the windows and all that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because they weren't fucking with that. So that's a little background. Because I was like, yo, all this shit is a game to these niggas. This shit is another business to these niggas. This shit is just like, how you gonna clock out? How do we make you clock out? Another reason, you know what I'm saying, why that shit was hilarious to me, because that would have got you more in tune in what the fuck I was saying. I know niggas who was 14, 15, 16 years old smoking weed, and as soon as they get to rolling up and they blow their shit, they know I don't smoke, but we get into a whole conversation and a session, and them niggas is absorbing and listening more to what I'm saying because they high. You understand? So how the fuck Killer Mike had the audacity to tell me he was too high to have that conversation? I noted the fuck out of it. And like I said, I never forget anything. And so to me, Killer Mike, not true blue. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. You can fuck with him if you want to. But if you can tell a 19-year-old that you too high to have a conversation about this shit that you claim is so urgent to you, then you full of shit. So just put that out there. But then, so here goes the read. The read is Killer Mike's album, Michael. Do y'all think this is a coincidence? Killer Mike's album, Michael, just won Album of the Year for 2023. Now, if you've been here, you know why I'm on here explaining this. If you've been here, you already understand where we're going with this, okay, and what these doors could be leading to. Because I had an album that came out 9/11, September 11th. And that album was called Michael. And that album had 12 tracks on it. And I remember coming on here showing y'all why I did 12 tracks. I said, look at it like this. I said Revelation chapter 12. This is why. It's 12 tracks, 33 minutes. Here go the breakdown. Revelation chapter 12, right? In Revelation chapter 12, Michael is mentioned in the Bible. Listen to what I'm telling you. And Michael is an angel. So if you go and look at the cover of Killer Mike's album, you will see Killer Mike with devil horns, interestingly enough, right? And angelic halo, okay? And you know the halo is associated with the angels. So Killer Mike is Michael, right? Or Michael was a Santiago, Render was the whole name of it. And Santiago meant St. James, some other shit. We can get into that in a second, right? So Michael or Mikael, like Miguel, means one who is like God, okay? So his name is Killer Mike, okay? And he appears with devil horns, which Michaels won't do. Remember I told you, I'm really Michael them, okay? The same way you got Christ, the same way you got Jesuses or Messiahs or Messiahs or gurus or Buddhas. And you got all these people who take on these roles as teachers, leaders, whatever. And then you have the other side of it, which is called false messiahs, false Jesuses, and the ones who would never show forth the green light, but they will rock with the red or the amber. So he appears with the horns on his cover with the halo. You understand? But had the nerve to call the shit Michael. Now, nobody the fuck knew that the Michael album existed. Nobody didn't know. Everybody is just as shocked as probably y'all are that Killer Mike even still make music. Right? So didn't nobody even know the nigga had an album called Michael. Now check this out. Why does the album come out on June 16th? Why did it come out on June 16th of last year? You understand? Now, if you don't know that date, Tupac Amaru Shakur, you understand, who I've been highlighting all year last year about one of the ones who went up against the Bad Boys. Who was the Bad Boys? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the Ninth Hour album. On the Ninth Hour song, I break this down. You understand? So the Bad Boys was the dragon in them. And how do you know them? By tone. Puff, right? Puffy, right? We would huff and puff and blow you. The wolves or the dragon huffs and puffs like they show you in Shrek, right? So Puff Diddy, which meant the dragon, okay, the father dragon, Diddy is daddy. They used to literally call him Puff Daddy, all right? So the father dragon, which was one of the old dragons or the old serpents that was mentioned in the book of Revelation, you understand, that went to war with Michael, was called the Bad Boys. So that means that there's an opposite of these bad boys. And who were the bad boys? The good boys. And remember, there was somebody called Tupac Amaru, listen to the tone, Mar meant war, never forget that. Amaru Shakur that had to go up against the bad boys. You understand? He kept saying, we bad boy killers, right? And he said, they expect me to be an angel in a world full of devils. Why was he saying that? Because he was literally telling you that these people are devils. You know what I mean? Not they expect me to be an angel in a world full of demons or demonic people, okay? Because they act like Phase 1 is the first motherfucker to tell you that they're devils. When Jesus, according to the biblical scripture, literally called a nigga called Peter the devil. Get thee behind me, shaitan, which meant op. You're a op. Okay, so they want to make you think I'm crazy by saying you're a op. But I'm just saying it in a way that people should understand. It's not just an opposition. It's an opposition that has weight. It's an opposition that has gravity with it, which lets you know that this is the same war that's been taking place, which is why a lot of you say, you remind me of Tupac. It's the same war. That's why none of these other artists are actually going against the beast. But Tupac said, kill Illuminati. Phase 1 said, destroy back from that. Destroy the GOAT. Phase 1 said, we're going to blow their whole living room apart. You understand? And said, go against the beast. If you want to hit something, I said, hit the music industry. I said, all you so-called magicians and practitioners and adepts and warriors and prayer warriors, whoever you want to call yourselves, hit the music industry. If you know how to do magic, all you alchemists, then why are you not hitting the music industry? The same music industry that was Pandora's box thousands of years ago, before Pan's door, listen, was open and let all them evil frequencies out into the communities. And then they showing you now, even the fact that they have streaming services called Pandora, okay, they still trying to hold Pan's door open. All right, and I said, well, we got to close Pan's door. It was forbidden to open those doors. Then that means that the whole industry is open season. Don't you understand that? Karma not even going to respond to that. She ain't going to blink an eye in the direction of that. If you were to destroy their pillars, Karma don't give a fuck. You helping her. She wasn't even going to come visit you unless to tell you thank you. Because it's still went in alignment with the Fibonacci sequence. It's still went in alignment with the golden ratio. It's still went in alignment with the order of things, which is what God laid out from the beginning of time. You ever say, let there be light, not darkness. Let there be light, meaning let there be information here that people can understand, affirmation here that people can understand, that'll help keep them out of the darkness or keep them out of the disorder. Okay, the same thing Tahuti was saying, or Ta, or Teo, or Thoth was saying from the beginning, out of the darkness into the light. The same thing they said in the Quran, out of the darkness into the night, which meant what? Or out of the darkness into the light. It meant out of the 6 into the 9. Coming away from this 6 God and going back toward the Most High, the 9 God. Because remember, yeah, it is written, all of ye are gods, but all of you are children of the Most High. Now, if you were to sum that up to be mathematics, because never forget that when we said supreme mathematics, we were saying the Superman, super me, listen, supreme, super me, the super me Islamics. Okay, because mathematics literally meant Islam. And a lot of people may not know that. It's about the supreme mathematics and may not understand that we're literally reminding you of what was here before any of this, which was what? Water. And the only super me, or the only Superman that ever existed was the woman, the double X chromosome, which is what the water was speaking about, or the primordial, the prime order. Listen, prime order, primordial waters was speaking about from the beginning, or the genealogy of Isis, which is referred to as Gene Isis. Okay, or Gene Isis, the genealogy of Isis, Genesis. And from Genesis, what did they say? Water was here first. And people forgot about the water. You understand? So we said, let there be light. That was sonoluminescence right there in the beginning of the book of Genesis. Saying that from that sound or that utterance, light was sparked. Okay, which meant that you were speaking about the primordial waters of chaos. Okay, or the waters of the abyss. And I taught people, remember, when you're hearing chaos or chaos, you're saying a few different things. Chaos is saying something that has to take place. As a matter of fact, there's a climax that takes place when sex occurs that allows for an explosion for all of us to be sitting here having this conversation right now. That's the chaos that happens in the darkness that yields a light. And now scientists are telling you, yes, there is a light or an explosion that takes place at the moment of our zero time reference, which is called the conception. Go look it up. You understand? Which without their ultrasound technology, they wouldn't have been able to behold what was taking place in the womb. Okay, they had to go beyond the sound, or ultra, beyond the sound that we have. Remember that. That's why you have sonoluminescence. Okay, sono is sound. Lumen means light, but it also means to open. Okay, and essence. So you use the sono, the sound, to open up the true essence. Are you listening to me? Right? So we said out of the darkness into the light, out of the chaos into the order. So that means that you had to be a part of that cause. You had to activate that causation clause. And why do I say cause? Because cause, chaos, listen, K-use, cause, K-aus, cause. And if you say use, split it down into 2 words. This is how you break the code. You have ka right here, and you have use right here. All right? What is ka? It means spirit. All right? What was spirit? It was the soul, okay, or ruh. And what was the ruh in ancient Kemet? It meant knowledge, R-H. Go look it up. And I broke that down a million times to people, so it should be clear. But you can't just have knowledge. You have to use knowledge, or you're not going to cause any effects. You understand? In order to put your cause in effect and be able to affect things with your cause, you have to be using something that was given to you by the same supermen, meaning ones who were beyond men, that gave us these sciences to begin with. You understand? Which was the women. Why you get into the conversation of in the beginning was the word. What was the word? All right, and we broke that whole thing down for logos. And you flip the logos around and you get sojo. And you get sojo, you get sigil. You understand? Or logotypes, which was logos tupos, which meant markings. Okay? And whoever had the sacred markings, which meant hiero, the word hiero is sacred, and glyphs means markings. Whoever had those sacred markings had that word in the beginning. Which means that in the beginning was the word, was referring to what was kept sacred, literally sacred, a double-edged sword, meaning you're saying 2 things in one, the double-edged tongue. All right, remember the sword is a tongue. When you have that sacred locked up, okay, in the pyramidic text or in the pyramid walls, kept sacred in between that X, all right, where that capstone is above it, but also the center, the central fire pyramid. All right, people had to go and invade those pyramids to get those sacreds, like your Alexander the Great and the rest of those people. They invaded them and they took them over to Greece. You understand? And then they became your philosophers, and then they become your Aristotles and all the rest of these people, your Socrates, and people thought them to be the great ones who had the wisdom. You understand? But they're missing something. They might have a secret, but they don't have the sacred. You with me? They might have the dark or the Sophia, listen, the demiurge, the bottom half of the information, but they didn't have the top half. So if you didn't have the top half or that true sound, okay, which yielded that true light, how are you going to bring forth your essence? Sono luminescence, a science that you can literally look into today that they're utilizing every day. You understand? So when we brought forth these sciences and said, here goes the sacred, or here goes the knowledge or the spirit, okay, and we breathe that spirit into man, okay, we wanted the ones who were in that reality to become Eve. That's what it was about. That's why we said we breathed our spirit into man, and man became a living soul. The word living means Eve in Hebrew. Go look it up. Or Hawa, okay? In order for you to become like old living, okay, old living ones, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, or Yahaya, okay? In order for you to become like Yahweh or the Yahwehians, you had to use the knowledge. You had to use the spirit. You had to use the information, which is why we say you can have the faith. Yeah, you can say, oh, I got faith with me. But if you're not full of it, in order to be able to do the works, then the faith without the works wouldn't be Eve. It would be the opposite of Eve. And Eve meant living. So in James chapter 2, verse 20, what do they say? Faith without works is dead. You understand? So everybody got this. We got a conscious community full of information and nobody using it. We got a conscious community that swear they know up and down about the chakras, but nobody's activating it. It took for phase one to show up and remind people about the green light. And we done had the green light since Dr. York braced the scene in the 70s. The green light movement. As a matter of fact, before Dr. York was ever born, there was a being called El Qadir that explained the same thing, okay, which was saying that there's a red world beneath this realm, from the root all the way up to the heart, which is your ceiling if you're trapped in that reality. And when you stand your feet on top of that world, you're literally standing on a new earth, because the earth was down here at that point. But then you climb up those levels. Now you're standing on a new earth, and you have a new heaven above you. Okay, it was El Qadir that had to meet Moses, where the two seas meet, and said, all right, when you done splitting that Red Sea, I got to show you the green one. Mm-hmm. You understand? So everybody's screaming that they understand and say, well, we don't want to mystify it. Well, then don't mystify it. How about you teach us the science of the green light? How about you come forth and explain what is the significance of the green light? Even now, they're coming out with commercials and everything talking about they can heal through the sounds of the green light. And Dr. MLK York been speaking about that for a long time. When you had the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek. Melchizedek was Melchizedek, which is Melchizedek, as in Melchizedek York. Nobody wanted to listen to that. And he came through and said, hey, mom, ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, hey, mom. And people still don't get it. Why was it hey, mom? Okay, because when you flip hey, mom backwards, you get mama. And if you want to know who the true messenger of righteousness is, then you have to adhere to the teachings of the mother. Who was the mother? Who was the original master mason? Okay? Who is the original eminent one, or M&M? Okay? Or M&M gives you M-A-M, which is ma'am, by the way. Who was the original one? None other than Ma'at. Because Ma'at literally meant justice or righteousness. So the original messenger or angel of righteousness was Ma'at, a woman. And Tahuti goes down in history as his story, as being the grand architect, as being the one who was able to bring all this light to the world. But before that being was able to bring light to the world, water or matter, the mother, Ma'at, was already here. That moment where there are some beings who can't accept yet that they're not the supermen. And they built up another world. And they said, we're going to build, this is in the book of Isaiah. They said, we're going to build our kingdom. Listen to the word, kingdom. They want the kings to be the dominant ones, which is dumb. You understand? We're going to build our kingdom above God's world. You understand? And from the moment that they decided that, when you had the story of Iblis, okay, who said, yo, since you did this, since you're going to cast me out of the higher planes, all right, what does that sound like? It sounds like Sophia's story. Okay, since you cast me out of the higher planes, since the one called Allah, the one who would be the one, Allah, because he's alone and has no partners, all right, according to the biblical scriptures, excuse me, it actually is the biblical scriptures and Al-Quran, all right, or the Kitab, just say the Kitab, you speak about all the scripture, okay? He said what? Alone and has no partners, the one. He was speaking to Allah. He said, since you're going to cause me to be in error and cast me down here into the Nesut realm, go study Sufi cosmology, and you'll understand what I'm saying. According to the Nesut material realm, you're going to send me there. All right, well, then everybody that's also here that's supposed to belong to you, okay, I'm going to lead them astray. And I'm going to cause them to be a part of my army. All right, I'm going to cause them to walk with me. I'm going to make disobedience fair seeming to them. I'm going to make disobedience or evil attractive to these people. and who you call Allah or God or Wahed the One, all right, was saying, yo, fine, if they walk with you and they follow you, well, then you can have them. But anybody who's with me can't turn. They're going to be with me anyway. You understand? And if you really understand what we're speaking about when we're saying that source, you would still have to be speaking about the original ones who said in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, let us make man in our image. Okay? Where the XX chromosome broke off into XY. So the war has been going on since the beginning. How do you know the war has been going on since the beginning? Because they spoke about it in Genesis chapter 3. Hold on to that. Okay? In Genesis chapter 3, that there was going to be a war between the serpent and their seed and the woman and her seed. They didn't say that there's going to be a war between the serpent and his seed and Adam and his seed. No, they said the serpent, the old serpent that's mentioned in Revelation chapter 12, okay, where Michael is also mentioned there, and their seed versus the woman and her seed. Eve had a seed. You understand? So you have to ask yourself, are we speaking about a snake? Okay, and this snake was supposed to be one snake that was created in the field. Okay, a beast of the field, which means it's not Lucifer that you're talking about, because Lucifer was beheld falling from heaven. He wasn't created as a beast of the field in the next realm, okay? And he would never have argued that he was made out of fire, okay, which means his molecular structure was much faster than Adam's, which literally meant to be ground or clay, okay? He would never argue that he was made out of fire as a higher ascended master and didn't have to bow down to Adam, okay, if he was made as a beast of the field. That's a whole different race of beings, a whole different conversation, a whole different story. All right. So you have this serpent called Nekas, all right, or Nakash. Okay. And this Nakash, or this whispering one, was able to bring forth all of this light that God was supposed to know alone, whoever these gods were. All right. So if this serpent was a solo being, meaning he was by himself, then what do they mean by the serpent seed?
Come on.
What do they mean? You can't tell me we were speaking about actual snakes, because that would literally mean that we're at war with snakes and snakes be minding their damn business. You know what I mean? Long as you don't bother the snakes, they not coming into your home. You know what I mean? Long as you're not bothering the snakes, they not trying to take over countries. Long as you're not bothering the snake, they not trying to nuke nobody. Long as you're not bothering the snake, they not trying to go steal nobody's books and oil. You know what I mean? To throw history into the dirt, all right? Or try to take over a news story and make it theirs using resources. The snakes ain't doing any of that. Snakes are just living their life. You understand? So you must have been speaking about a sly person who had also other people who were there, because the serpent would not have been able to reproduce by themselves.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Unless you were trying to say there was a snake asexually, but again, that's not what it meant. So if you were saying there was a snake or a serpent, then you was describing the nature of a being who had other people there that they could reproduce with. So who were these other snakes? Who are these other people who could reproduce with this serpent being? Mm-hmm. All right? And how did they have a seed? Are you listening to what I'm saying to you? So the serpent seed went on as the Amberlite beings. All right? And you knew that the serpent seed was able to cross over and certain things through epigenetics that a snake can say to somebody who was at one point in time so-called good or in alignment with being good and rejecting a sin. A serpent or a sly person or a sneaky person, or what you call in our communities a pimp, can get in and turn somebody completely away from the Most High. You understand? Not just a pimp. You got the Jezebels. You got all kinds of different spirits. Lilith. All right, they can get in and they can seed something. Listen to the word. They can seed something. And one thing that they seeded can have a whole world of brothers against each other, or a whole world of sisters against each other. That happens on both planes. All right. So you had the murder that took place with Cain and Abel. That was Amberlite versus Emeraldite. Remember, Abel was referred to as in Hebrew a Tob being. Tob. Go look up T-O-V or T-O-B. Tob, which means good. All right. He was an agreeable being. Right. So you had Tob as Abel. Then you had this other being called Cain, who was what's referred to as Ra'ah. All right. And that Ra'ah being, or that disagreeable being, was able to listen to these suggestions of Shaitan, because he felt jealous of his brother, who his brother brought forth an offering. All right. And whoever these judges were, all right, was saying, yo, I like this offering over this offering. And it wasn't just because they didn't have anything else to do. They were saying this being put more thought and put more heart into their offering or into their works. And you threw something together and presented it at the altar, and we're rejecting that. You understand? So because of that, Cain fell what? They said his countenance fell, and he fell jealous of his brother, and then he sought out to kill him. And they said, yo, be cautious. Sin is at your door. Who is sin? All right. And why would they say that? They say, yo, the sin is at your door. Sin is an ancient Mesopotamian god, okay, that was called the god of the moon, that appears as Baphomet, today, that appears as Hilal today or Halal today. All right, there are many different depictions of this being, or Azazel or Samael. Okay, and that being has been at war with Eve seed since the beginning. All right, so look at Eve seed. You had a book that we grew up on. Stay with me now. It was called Green Eggs and Ham, and it was a line that kept going. I do not want them. I don't want these green eggs. You know what I'm saying? What do we say when we say eggs? You say offspring. Stay with me. All right? I don't want this green eggs and ham. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anything to do with Eve's seed. Because if you don't know, Eve is Hawa, and Hawa is Haya, and the color of Haya, and the color of Hawa, and the color of Eve, all is green. Go look it up. Go look what I'm telling you. It's a chakra that sits right in the center of all your 7 chakras, okay, or your 7 centers, or your 7 points. Okay, or loops or cycles. There's a million different translations for it. But the main one is a cycle or a loop or a center, okay, or a charged point. All right, so you have 7 of those right there in the center. That's referred to as the mental plane or the middle plane, okay, is what's referred to as the Anuhata, okay, Anuhata. And the Anuhata or the unstruck, okay, heart chakra is green. It glows green. All right, it's the heart color. It's the healing color. We did the whole science of green light teaching on the Brother Young Elders YouTube page. If you want to go check that out, you can be able to look into that and find out more about the green light specifically. Okay, so this being was rejecting the green light. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anything to do with Eve's seed, and I don't want anything to do with whoever these Ham people are. You know what I'm saying? Or these Ham people are, who are literally directly linked to whoever these God beings were. All right, as Noah was a chosen one, that they hid something in the book called the Lamech scroll. All right, because Bathanosh, who was Noah's mother, was not able to conceive Noah without the help of another group of beings who were referred to as the guardians, meaning Noah would not have been born if it were not for the guardians. You understand? Not to say that she was infertile, but to say that they helped her, okay, through something that was referred to as artificial insemination. Some of y'all in the Christian faith refer to it as immaculate conception. Okay, so immaculate conception doesn't happen just one time, by the way. It's a million times this shit happens, and people just only count it with Mary and Jesus. But there's a few different people, Rebecca, Baptist, there's a lot of people, Sarah, okay, where they say, yo, we weren't supposed to be able to have a child, but we were able to have a child through whatever technology or what you refer to as a miracle now, okay, that these ancient ones were able to bring forth. So Enoch was explaining to them that it was the guardians who came through, because Lamech was like, yo, I've been gone for 11 months. How is Bacchanos with child? I've been gone for 11 months. You understand? He said, no, the guardians stepped in, and through artificial insemination, they gave her a child. That child became Noah. All right. And they said when Noah was born, he had something in his essence or in his being or his genes that allowed for him to appear in this reality as bioluminescent. Meaning his skin was literally glowing and he had light coming from his eyes, they said. All right, so it's the same thing that they were explaining about the Ancient of Days and whoever this Jesus being was, okay, that was described in Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. Are y'all with me? So the point is, Sam, in the story we grew up with, all right, who was introduced to us by Dr. Zeus, or Dr. Zeus, or Zeus, okay, you with me? Was one who was saying, I don't want anything to do with whoever these beings are. So who is Sam? All right, and you have to ask yourself, why would Phase 1 come out with a song, F Black History? Why would he do that? If he's supposed to be one of these people who's associated with this pro-black movement and all this other stuff, why would he do that? Because he's not one of the people who's associated with the pro-black movement. Pro-black is a scam. It's the same scam or the same scheme that's been there since the beginning. They're for the darkness. You understand? Notice your pro-black leaders are always the ones who are telling you how you should feel about a thing. Your pro-black leaders are always the ones who are telling you who you should send your voltage to or your vote to. Your pro-black leaders are always telling you, oh, don't invest in this type of bank, invest in my type of bank. Even though it's the same system up under the same Rome that has been up under since they first set up the bank on the side of the river. Hold on to that. You understand? So no, I'm not associated with pro-black because I told you there's no way you can be professionally black for one. You know what I mean? You're going to be a melanin dominant being or you're not a melanin dominant being. How are you getting paid to be melanin dominant? Okay, so black is a trick. I told you black is a color. Black is a code. So when they're giving you black history, notice the shit only goes back to 1619 or 400 years ago. All right? And people been saying 400 years of slavery for 200 years, not even realizing they weren't even done, you understand, in that 200-year point. They had another 200 years to go. And then by the time we get to 2019, when Beyonce comes out with a song called Already, listen, she was saying all of y'all get ready, and all of y'all should be ready. She said, wake up, you a king already. shine your mind, shine your body. She said, wake up. She came through with a tour last year, called it the Renaissance Tour. She said it's time for a rebirth. Okay? You got Christians still saying she's the devil. You know what I mean? Now, look, that's not to say she's never done anything demonic. I'm not in her living room. I don't know anything about that. However, I'm telling you that these people have been bringing you light. They still can bring light. They're devils. Listen, you want to know what a devil is? A devil is what you do. Okay? Now, if you got a devil that's literally red, got horns poking out their head and a pitchfork in their hand, all right, and it's a tree that fell in the street, and you got to lift this tree up so that people can pass and not be trapped by whatever tsunami is supposed to come in the next 30 minutes. All right, if that devil get in that street and help you lift up that tree, all right, then that's not the devil in that story. Are you with me? No, people can't understand that. They say the devil is the devil. No, the devil is what you do because you are one deed away from being the devil. All right, to somebody or to yourself. And you're one deed away from being an angel, but we can't really just say angel. You really got to say a good being or an agreeable being, because when you say angel, you go back around to Revelation chapter 12, and they'll tell you that Satan had angels too. You know what I mean? So people think angel mean good. It don't mean good. The same way people think demon or daemon means bad. It's not that it means bad. It's just you got to understand what story is being told at what point in time. You with me? So you had all of these devils, pay attention, that have been bringing forth this darkness. And they wanted people to align with the black code. Why is it all about black? Okay, who was this crow? All right, when you think of a crow, what color do you think? Okay, you had this being called Jim Crow, or a crow who was bringing a piece of information. What's a gem? A piece of information. All right, and that piece of information was brought way before this crow showed up, because you had a question that was asked, say, will he lynch? And yes, he will. They will lynch. When they get power, they will lynch. That's what they always been doing. Lynch is short of one letter, flinch. Okay, with the F, because they're afraid. And anybody that gets power and they're afraid, they'll fight to maintain their power. They'll become self-destructive to maintain their power, even if they don't deserve that power, or they didn't have the right of ownership, okay, or the right of survivorship when it comes to the land you're standing on. They'll still fight to defend it and destroy it themselves. Okay, so will he lynch? Yeah. Will he flinch? Hell yeah, because they flinching now. Why are they flinching? Because of that sun. So what's their issue with the sun? Why is Bill Gates trying to fight the sun? Why, when you go outside every day now, are they trying to spray these fake clouds in your atmosphere, knowing there ain't been no clouds out here? And why aren't any clouds out here? Come on. You know what I mean? Now look, they can tell you I'm crazy, but all you have to do is walk outside, because you don't have to listen to phase one. He ain't telling you to believe nothing he say. He's telling you to go and do your own research, meaning you search for Ray, Ra, the sun, yourself. You go. When they came out with that bullshit ass conspiracy about the Amber Alert, which I told you, I said all that's an illusion. I said they pushed into this emergency alert system. You remember the conscious community leaders were telling niggas to go into the wilderness. You had niggas who supposed to be woke who were saying that they're gonna put their phone in aluminum foil, put it in a microwave, and then after they put it in a microwave, they were going to put it in a safe. They were going to go and download a code for that safe. They were going to ship it off to Paris, and they were still going to go into the wilderness. And I was the only motherfucker on live. The whole so-called conscious orientation lineup that people keep trying to associate me with, I was the only motherfucker on live laughing. When the shit went off, I said, ain't this an Amber Alert sound? Ain't this the same exact sound? I said, now watch. I said, these motherfuckers gonna tell you it ain't gonna set in just yet. It ain't targeted the zombie nerves in you just yet. And then sure as you can tell, all them other niggas, I wish I could remember his name. I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember his name. I will get it. Some Zen, somebody, Immortal Zen. I think that was the nigga name. All the niggas also, y'all gotta wait. It don't just pop off like that. But it take a little time. He was the same nigga telling niggas to be scared about hamburgers. You know what I'm saying? On Hamburger Day, on National Hamburger Day, when they did a deal on hamburgers, niggas said, listen, I was there. You can lie to whoever. Niggas said that because them hamburgers was 10 cents, anybody that went to go get them hamburgers would die. And that the frequency, do y'all understand what a false prophet is? Do you really understand it? It ain't just biblical, okay? They said the frequency was going to activate. And when that frequency activated, anybody who had them a Mick Jr., whatever the fuck, a Whopper, anything that was 10 cents, anybody who had one of them, you was going to turn into a zombie. Or you was going to die. There was niggas who said it was going to be over for you. You was going to die. Niggas did no such thing. And I was the only motherfucker on here. I said, look, we was singing and everything. My mama came in, we was singing. It was a good time. All right, the shit went off. I said, don't that sound like some Amber Alert shit? Right? And they distracted everybody, had everybody focused on this shit, and niggas was actually instructing people to put their phones underground, dig a hole, put it in there. You know what I mean? Put it in an envelope, put it in your mailbox, lift up the thing and say return to sender so they can have it and get it later. Listen, I'm telling you. And this is who people listen to. These are the people who people be listening to. And I'm saying all you have to do is pay attention to how many times somebody's wrong about something. Look at how many times, how many events these motherfuckers done been wrong about. How many times niggas tried to play prophet and said, watch out, niggas was saying on this date, the Golden Gate Bridge is gonna fall. The Golden Gate, I can get in my car right now and drive across that bitch right now. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was saying that shit from the jump. They were saying, yo, hey, be careful about August 11th of 2022, the Golden Gate Bridge is gonna fall. All right, they were using gematria and all this other shit. Niggas was telling me I didn't know what I was talking about because I don't use gematria. I said, y'all are, listen, it's a lot of people who are mimicking the arts, who are mimicking the sciences, right? Gematria is the science of the mother. You don't even realize you're saying the gem that the mother brought, gematria. You're also saying Geo or Gaia is the mother. Mitochondria, the powerhouse. All of this information, which is a lodge, by the way, when we ask about the grandmother, we saying, what's your lodge? And that grandmother, that actual lodge is the womb or the house that you live in when you first get here. You understand? So why the fuck would I need to go look at a code reader that's going to send 1,000 different predictions about what the fuck they think going to happen? I'm supposed to choose in between all these options and these words. Why would I do that when I can just listen? When I can just listen. And instead of trying to speak whatever the fuck I want to speak, how about I just listen and let whatever need to come through, come through. Before I got on this live, I took a deep breath and I said, let only the truth come through me. Literally, before I got on, I said, let only the truth come through me. That's gematria. So you want to ask yourself a question. How motherfuckers who using gematria is wrong? They keep getting this shit wrong. They keep missing dates. They playing prophet. But the motherfucker who ain't never told you he doing no gematria, anything like that, somehow, when I say some shit, the shit always line up. So Michael won. Let's get to it. Michael won. Now, the world don't know about Phase 1 Michael album. They don't have to, do they? The same way the world didn't know about Phase 1, but they found out about the D1 person, all right, or the David person. But they didn't know who Phase 1 was. They didn't know that when you're looking at the image of David, you're looking at Phase 1 in 2019. You understand? The same way when niggas found out that there was a 16-year-old Mason teaching class hidden knowledge, all right, they say, oh, this nigga's 16, and niggas was messaging me, asking me questions. I'm like, nigga, that was 4 years ago. People are catching wind of what I've done 4 years later. You understand? And it's showing up in their reality in different ways. So they didn't know. So the world didn't know about Phase 1's Michael album. Okay? But Phase 1 told you and reminded you and showed you the whole breakdown. I said, look at it. I said, we going against the dragon. Remember, I did a whole breakdown. I said, Drake is the dragon. People said, what? This nigga's clout chasing. I said, you don't get it? Drake is the fucking dragon. You have to know why people show. I told you why 19 Keys was named Jabril Muhammad. You know what I mean? I told you what was going to happen with Nature Boy's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Rashad Jamal's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Brother Polite's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Bobby Hemmitt's situation. I told you what was going to happen with Brother Panic situation. I literally said these things. You had to been walking with me since the Baphomet is out of order days years ago, where I explained all of this. You understand? So I literally show people that if you go and look up Drake, the shit literally means dragon. If I'm making it up, well then you telling me that I done reincarnated thousands of times though, because that word been around here for thousands of fucking years. Draco, Tanim, the dragon, or Leviathan. It's been here. You understand? So it just so happens, I told you, I said, don't Drake look like an owl? Don't nigga Drake look like an owl? I said, he don't like an owl ass nigga. Like the reason that he came out with the OVO shit is almost like he looked in the mirror one day, he said, I look like a fucking owl. And said, I know what to do. He looked like an owl. Now that I told you, you can't unsee the shit. You gonna look at this nigga and say, this nigga looks like an owl. You have to ask yourself, why this nigga look like an owl? I'm gonna say it enough times that it stick. That's what I'm doing. That's the plan. This nigga looks like an owl. If you never seen an owl, you have to actually go look for an owl, okay? And if you find an owl on Google, you be like, okay, this is him. And then you go and look at Drake. You're going to look at the nose shape. You're going to look at, I said, how does a human being look like an owl? You like, this nigga Faise is on point. How the fuck did I never notice that the OVO nigga literally looked like Molech? He literally looked like the niggas who are associated with the OVO. The OVO been the OVO. It's been the OVO since the beginning of time. That's why they hid the OVO as something called the NWO, which is also referred to as the OWO, and that means one world order. And that OVO is supposed to be up under a group of beings who are referred to as the Molekians, all right, or the Baalians. And those Baalians, like I told you, I said, look at it. Ain't nobody coming out to fight Balenciaga. Balenciaga came out and announced their hierarchy. Okay, listen to what I'm saying. I didn't say that on accident. They're announcing their hierarchy, or the arc of their eye, which is higher, or their hierarchy. They say, yo, we are the king. Balenciaga, Baal is the king. I've been telling folks that for years. Then these niggas, as soon as they do one fucking ad, they say, oh, Balenciaga means Baal is the king. I've been saying that, but it was you conscious community spiritual people who said, we ain't using none of that Bible shit. Y'all got to get out of all that Bible shit. You didn't know Baal was in the Bible?
Come on.
You didn't know they mentioned all that shit in the biblical scripture? The same reason why I said all y'all niggas been trying to claim that y'all are above a book that you haven't read. You don't know that all this shit been popping up has been coded in the Bible and the Quran.
Come on.
And I show people Corona as the Quran. I show people that the number 19 that they placed on Corona was the number 19 that they hid in the Quran in a hidden secret. You understand? But niggas like, we don't need those books because you're too lazy to read them. When you actually go in and read them, I know it takes time, but I've been reading them since I was little. So you got to do the math on this, right? You go and read them, you say, wait a minute, this happened. Wait a minute, this code means this. You start being able to connect these dots. And you start realizing why it seems like even though you're trying to tell me you're above this book, somewhere you still find your way to say, we are all gods. I said, that's right there in Psalms 82, verse 6. Somewhere you still trying to tell me about the third eye. Okay, the light of the eye is the body. Somewhere you still trying to tell me about the semen retention. Okay, that's in Galatians. Somewhere you tell me about all these things. I'm like, the shit is in the book that you're telling people don't read. You understand? You're saying it in a way that you've been taught to say it, which I can understand it, because they have been misled. But they were misled by the imams and the pastors. You understand? The book itself ain't misled no motherfucking body. The same way the books themselves can't enslave nobody. They said that book enslaved our people. No, the book didn't do shit. You want to know what they used? If you never read a book called The Blueprint for Black Power, I would advise you to read it. I think it's Dr. Amos Wilson. Okay? Go read that book, Blueprint for Black Power. They use abrupt force. That was their tactic from the beginning. They didn't say, hey, read this motherfucking Bible. Get over here and read this Bible and throw the Bible. Nigga, they've been using abrupt. They killed people. They made examples of people. They forced people to worship those images. So the question remains, why would Phase 1 say F Black history? Right? The question is, why have you yet to denounce their month? Why have you yet to denounce and reject that they give you one short month to celebrate a history that probably don't belong to 80% of y'all? He said, how is that possible? Well, first of all, do you understand why they call the U.S. a melting pot? Do you know why they call it that? Because some of y'all come from the Caribbeans. Some of y'all from Europe. Some of y'all have Mongoloid ancestry. Some of you have Caucasoid ancestry. Some of you have Negroid ancestry. Some of y'all have all-planetoid ancestry. So for everybody to say that everybody's ancestors, listen, our ancestors were slaves. Our? What do you mean by that? You didn't ask anybody in here before you started speaking, Umar. You didn't ask everybody in here to provide their genealogy. You didn't ask everybody in here to provide their ancestry. You didn't ask everybody in here to even deliberate upon their etherology. And I was the one who said, look, there go your age right there, AGE. Ancestry, genealogy, etherology. Your ancestry, if you don't know, is dealing with all the dates. Your genealogy, if you don't know, is dealing with all your documents. And your etherology, which people probably never heard before me, is dealing with your nature. Who are you? What are your deeds? Because it don't matter if our ancestors were slaves. Whoever the hell Tyrone is could still wind up being an enemy if his ancestor was a fucking slave. And we also have to make sure that it's clear that they were never slaves. They were prisoners of war. All of our ancestors, if you're talking about those people who did go through that, they fought. They fought. And because these people came from all these other worlds, literally they were aliens from other worlds, meaning another continent. That's what they call them, other worlds though. And because they came from these other worlds with advanced technology, all right, a lot of these people who were some of your ancestors were not able to fight them. All right. And they weren't able to get the help that they needed to fight them because a lot of these people had secret help that never touched your history books. Because how the fuck did these people get so advanced so damn fast and they didn't know shit? They didn't have any type of advanced civilizations. But we had all the advanced civilizations. So again, you still got to be cautious when you saying we. Because you look at somebody that's melanin dominant and you say us. And niggas like, who? Nigga, I'm the CIA. You know what I'm saying? I work with them. You know what I mean? And you think you're saying them, you think you're saying Caucasoids, and you're not. All right? Which that's what Kanye, Kanye was kind of saying that too, because he was speaking about the identity being snatched from people. And I told people what he meant. I remember when everybody tried to act like I was crazy when I said, this nigga speaking on Moorish science. That whole breakdown of the 322 and what do you speak about? The status and all this other stuff and how the identity was missing and everything. Nobody want to hear it. When he said white lives matter, I was the only motherfucker who knew what it meant. I said, duh, nigga, that's black lives. Listen, I'm gonna show you if you can manage it. Take a deep breath, all right? Because I'm sure when I say F Black History, 70 niggas left. Okay, you gotta listen. If you think you got all the answers, and you think these people who like the Sean Kings and the rest of them are the real leaders who actually give a fuck about you, and they don't get $90 million and disappear and all that other shit, fine, leave. But if you know that it's some bullshit going on, stick around. And I'll tell you, because a lot of secrets they don't want people to know. But as a traveler myself, we were literally taught this shit. And I was raised up by Masons and Moors and all of that before I ever became a traveler. So I actually didn't even have to touch the fucking walls, you know what I'm saying, or go behind them doors because they were giving me all the jewels anyway. But going behind them doors changed everything because you start being able to put the light where it's supposed to go. You understand? So if you think you know what I'm saying, you think Tamika Mallory give a fuck, and the reason why she did the Cadillac commercial is because she cared about her people and the struggle and all of that, then that's fine. You know what I mean? If you think Killer Mike can get on a live and tell me that he's too high to have a conversation about the evolution and the revolution of the conscious beings or the melanin dominant people, you think that's normal, that's what it's supposed to be like to be a leader, that's fine. If you think T.I. can go from talking about us or else to be battling 50 Cent about who got the best catalog, and that's what leaders are supposed to do, who have the resources and all the shit they claim that they have, you think that's what they're supposed to do, then fine. You don't belong here. You should go ahead and bounce right now because it's about to get deeper. Righteous. So this whole conversation about Martin Luther King, all right, or MLK, all right, because even when you're saying MLK, you're saying Molech, all right, it's beginning with the word Michael, because Martin was originally named Michael. That name switched. Now, Michael, again, Mikael, is saying one who was like God. So that was Michael King, okay? One who was literally like God, Mikael, was shifted to Martin, which is still saying a warrior. You understand? And that warrior went on to fight his way to the top and got approached by some very, very, very powerful individuals, all right, from different organizations. One that you know as the Masons. And everybody who was walking around him was travelers. All right. So there was a conversation about MLK going through one of the lodges in Atlanta to be brought in as an official on paper Mason. How some of these people like, what was the nigga? Al Sharpton, Herman Skip Mason, the rest of these people are on paper as being travelers. Okay. Or Masons, like your Harry S. Trumans, the rest of them Shriners, the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? That you can find the information on them as being Masons. But they pulled a fast one. They said, well, if we don't put it on paper, then even when it comes to, because they know the Masonic clause is, people hear masonry, they think devil, right? They wanted to paint, after killing him, they wanted to paint Martin Luther King as the whole face of Black history. So when people think Black History Month, the first motherfucker that pop in their mind is Martin Luther King. Come on. So Martin Luther King was just doing his works. You know what I mean? He was getting paid for a lot of shit too. People don't understand it's business. Right? They dress up in their suits like the NAACP and the rest of the people, the NOI. All right? It's business. It's not to say that business is a bad thing. However, you're not to forget that a suit is a business attire. You understand? So they went out to do the thing, and they made a lot of changes, especially for the people that were experiencing what they were experiencing at that time. And there's no but that follows that. It's a major respect for all of the people who were able to orchestrate the sit-ins and the boycotts and all of that. Right? However, there was another side of it. And when Malcolm X went over and had his Hajj, all right, over to the Holy Mecca, are you listening? And was able to receive the information about the other side, which was the white. Because remember, he came back speaking about how he didn't know that the so-called white people were Muslims also. Or the so-called white people were Islamics also. Or the so-called white people had supreme mathematics up under their belt too. He thought, through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that it was the black man in America. Listen, the black man. which means that you're not actually documented as a man. That's another thing that they kept sacred. So the black man in America, or what's referred to as Black America in the Western Hemisphere, was the original man. And the actual colored man, or the one who was supposed to be the devil, was the Caucasoid. So he went over there in the same time period and found out that it was so-called Caucasoids who were over there that were prostrating and giving salat and all of this stuff, taking shahada, just like the rest of these people who were melanin dominant people. They were Muslims. All right. And he found out through a lot of them other Muslims who were over there, melanin dominant and melanin recessive ones alike, that there was a game being played in the Western Hemisphere. And that game was being played on a board. And that board is referred to as the chessboard. But they made the masses think that that chessboard was a checkerboard. Because if you think it's a checkerboard, you think checkers is being played. But if you don't know it's a chessboard and chess is being played, then you don't know what game is being played right over your head. And people will argue you down and say, it's the same board. And I'm telling you, based off of the circumstances, it's not the same board. It's not even the same pieces. So he came back over here with new knowledge about what black and white meant. And so he said, yo, at one point in time, I spoke what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He said, you hear me saying the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. He said, but now I'm telling you, I done figured something else. He said, it's not about no black and no white thing. It's about a human rights thing. They said he has to be killed. They won't tell you this, but they don't want to tell you this. They want to make you think that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was enemies. You understand? They started having sacred meetings and sacred houses. And amongst them sacred meetings were a few sacred brothers from both the blue and the red houses, all right, who were teaching those brothers what the real game was. Brother, let me tell you something about status correction. Brother, let me tell you something about birthright. Brother, let me tell you something about sovereignty. Brother, let me tell you something about you being the rock. You are Morocco. Listen, you are my rock. You know what I'm saying? Brother, let me tell you something about getting information. Brother, let me tell you something about who run the world. Girls, the matriarch. Let me teach you about what they stole from you. So when Kanye came out and was explaining that the same ones who want you to call yourselves black are the same ones who strip the identity from you, I said, I know what this nigga said when Kanye West, listen, Kanye West, that's why I had a teacher that said Kanye or Ye West goes east, out of the west, darkness, into the light. East, okay, which is another secret or sacred that's been held, all right, is saying when you're going east, you're actually going west. When you're accessing that light that you get from the east, because the sun rises in the east, okay, when you're accessing that light, you find out what was dark. Because darkness meant what? Something that was hidden or concealed or halal or Baphomet or Sophia away, all right, or demi-urged away. It was never supposed to be revealed or brought to the light. Okay, so that you could see beyond that veil. That's why ray and veil are right next to each other. Ra or veil. Ra is light. Never forget that. That's why you say sun rays or ray. Ra, ray. Okay, and veil, veil. When you put a light up to a veil, you can see what's behind it. All right, and then after that, you just got to do what they showed you when Toto was in the Wizard of Oz movie and went up to the curtain or that veil and pulled it back. And you could see the game they've been playing. All right, then you realize who the Tin Man is, the tax identification number. Then you realize who the statue is, all right, as that Tin Man. Then you realize that the statue was supposed to be referring to a version of yourself that couldn't actually exist as a living being, okay? Meaning, if you say you're a statue, all right, I'm going to represent myself, okay? You can't actually represent yourself because if you were trying to represent yourself, that presentation would actually have to be living and breathing. So if you represent yourself and it's not living and breathing, then already you're working on what's referred to as de facto or dis facto. Okay, meaning you're going against the facts. It's not the actual fact that you are that living being that's standing there in that courtroom. And what do you play on the court? A game. Are you listening to me? So you understand now who the Tin Man is and why he needed a heart. And all he needed was a heart because that heart was that connection to the land. All right. And without that heart, which gives you that rhythm or that heartbeat, which is the first song that you hear when you're in the grand house and when you came through in the lodge, when you were naked and you were blind because there was no light. All right, until they started putting light in the womb with the ultrasound, there was no light for the babies. You understand? You saw only darkness. That's all you knew. The only thing you heard was the heartbeat of your own, which sounded like a warping sound. All right, and the heartbeat of your mother. That was the first song you ever heard. You understand? So what do you say? If I could feel. They separated people from that connection to divine. And when you're saying divine, you're speaking about something that is literally connected to the earth. That's why as soon as you came into this reality, what's the first thing they moved to do? The first thing they moved to do, which is not what a lot of these so-called ancestors, as I'm saying, gotta say so-called, because we gotta break that spell of thinking when you're saying the ancestors, you're talking about everybody. All right. A lot of these so-called ancestors, or whichever ancestors it applies to, all right, didn't do that. They would let the umbilical cord fall off. All right. But these doctors of modern day, as soon as a child is born, they cut the cord. All right. And I explain in the book, How to Love Again, that the umbilical cord, is the what? Compassion of Buddha. You listen, the basic sound of the universe, which has 3 sounds with it. A, U, and M. All right. And the heart is attached directly to that U. The A is that root, and that M is that third eye. Okay. Which the eye is the mind, by the way. The eye and the brain were one when it came down to the ancient Kemetic ones or the ancient Egyptians. It didn't really separate the third eye and the brain for a reason. Okay. Because even the pineal gland that is that third eye sits in the brain. Okay. So you have your A-U-M. All right. A-U-M. The A is that root or that foundation. The U is that heart at that crossroad, okay, or that green light. And then the all right, which is the crown chakra activation, which gives you a corona. Go look up what a corona is. It's that halo that you see the angels having. It's the halo that you see Jesus having. It's the halo that you see Rasulullah or the messenger of Allah, Muhammad, having. Or anybody who came through as a holy person. For some reason, they all had this glow around them, which the literal word for that is corona. You understand? So anybody who had that corona was able to bring forth the light. So you have your A, U, and M, which is your own, and then there's a silence that takes place after that. Okay? And they count that too as a 4, but that's a secret 4. All right? So the magic number is actually A, U, M. But people think Om is 1 sound, but it's actually 3 sounds. The point is this. When you're saying umbilical, all right? I'm saying it like that on purpose. I know it's umbilical. Okay? But you say umbilical, you're saying the basic sound of the universe that allows for you to understand the basic information before leaving Earth. Biblical, Bible, okay, or Biblios, okay? Remember they gave you the Helios, Biblios, or which means the sun scroll, all right? So you have to understand the basic information before leaving Earth, and that gave you that Om sound. And that's why to this day, the ones who are called the monks and the nuns, or the nuns, monk and nuns. When we say monk and nun, it's saying mukminun, all right? And mukminun, or mukminati, is saying the ones who are the believers. Okay, masculine and feminine, of Allah, who is called the source. Now, right with the album called Michael. And that song, or actually it's a music video, because the song been out since 2021. The music video aired on 9/11. Stay with me. All right? Because they went around later saying, oh, there's an emergency. Emergency alert. All right? What I say? I dropped it on 9/11 for a reason, and you'll know. Pay attention. You'll see. All right, so I dropped the song Source, the music video for Source on 9/11 of last year. And I dropped the album Michael on 9/11 of last year. You with me? That Source song was all about the sun. And if you think I'm playing, go and watch the music video for Source, okay? Or write it down so you can do it later. Go watch the music video for Source, and you will see not only the sun, okay, and the world, which is this world, or Hilal's world being destroyed, you'll also see me walking around with a umbrella. All right? So you have to ask yourself, if this music video is speaking about the sun and the source, and the song is saying, Nashhadu ila ilaha illallah, all right? We come in the name of the source, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we flipping niggas off the porch. Okay, we speak about the source, the sun. I don't get it, Faise. Why would you be, first of all, walking in blue shoes, okay? And why do you have an umbrella that's also blue if it ain't even raining? You know what I mean? But you have to understand how these things line up. So when Killer Mike was arrested, you would actually see one of the people who was walking with him with an umbrella. All right? And they walking with the umbrella over him. And it was raining. Why is the umbrella there? Why is the blue umbrella there? Why is the blue shoes there? Let me tell you why. You got to learn why. What's my first book? The first book is called Why. All right? The reason for that is because the source goes beyond the sun. All right? That cosmos source, or that heavenly source, all right, which in Hebrew is referred to as Shemayim, all right, when you speak about the heavens, has 2 words, or 2 names, or 2 words that come together to create that word Shemayim. So the word Shem, all right, was dealing with the sun, or Shemesh, all right, or Shema, okay, or Esh, which is say the fire. Okay, so you have Shem Esh, or the fire, that is the sun. And then you have Ma'im, which is the water. So you have fire and water. So you're seeing the sun, but you have to remember the water. A lot of people will look up at the source and remember the source through the sun, okay? But before that light or that sun was here, there was water here, okay? Before we said, let there be light, there were the orders of the water here, all right? Or the eastern stars that people don't know about, all right, that were here. That's why they dress in all white. They already in all white. The brothers who are the Masons, their job is to earn their badge, okay, to be able to travel to the east so that they can be garbed in the garb of righteousness, which is all white. All right, but the eastern stars, our silent sisters, okay, are already over there in the east, dressed in all white, just like the Muslims wear, okay, which is that garb waiting for that marriage of the lamb to take place or the wedding of the lamb. Okay, many are called, few are chosen. Are you with me? So look at the keys. When Yea, all right, who say, I call myself Yea now because that's the name or the word that appears the most in the Bible. All right, he said you find that word a lot of times in the Bible. I don't know for sure if it's the most. I haven't fact checked that. Okay, he said, I'm always saying Yea because you're saying you. I'm getting your attention. I said the same thing I told people. He came out with the White Lives Matter shirt. Y'all remember that? Because everybody lost their mind. Right? I came on and did a teaching. I said White Lives Matter. All right, it was a clubhouse teaching back in the clubhouse days, 2022. Okay, so I explained the White Lives Matter. I said, this only makes sense. When matter becomes live, all right, when you heat up matter, the faster that matter or those molecules move, the hotter they become, the brighter they show up in your reality. So when matter becomes live, it turns white. When you, or us, we, as human beings, complete that journey, okay, from the darkness into the light, across that desert, you receive your all white, which is the holy high. Interestingly enough, Killer Mike mentioned those two words in his last song on his album, which has 14 tracks on it, by the way. And I explained to you what the 14 is because in the on the dollar bill, they have the 13 levels of that pyramid, but nobody counts that 14th level, which is that eye of providence that sits at the top. You understand? And that's a whole different level. It's called the capstone. You with me? So when matter turns live and it continues to heat up, it turns white. This is referred to as state correction or status correction. Why would we say status correction or state correction or statute correction or statistics correction? Because listen, if I give you a statistic, I can give you statistics right now. I can say 60% of the people in here is listening. Other 40% in here is trying to figure out a way that they can disprove it. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a statistic. That don't mean it's true. But the first thing the brain wants to do is believe the statistic. But I just gave you some shit that's called stats or statute. Don't even have to be real. I can give you some facts that don't have to be actually true. Truth is truth. You understand? So if we say status correction, or statute correction, or stat correction, or state correction, that means we're literally correcting the state. And the state is not speaking about, if I say the state of Florida, all right? I'm not saying the state of Florida to ask you about the landmass that you're calling Florida, all right? Which Florida doesn't actually exist. You only make it exist in your brain because you put people at the borders and line and shit up. That doesn't mean anything to the higher ups. We understand that Florida never existed. We're talking about the state of the people that live within those confines. That's it. And what is the state of the people? A condition. That's why every time you go to another state, people are different. You know, Florida right there next to Georgia. But you cannot tell me that Georgians and Floridians are doing the same thing and saying the same thing and speaking the same way. You go up there to Alabama, you go to New York, niggas is speaking, they're in different states. They're in different conditions. You understand? That's why they announced to you in the George Floyd ritual, they said all 50 states are on fire. Okay? The states weren't on fire. But they were telling people who were the higher-ups, who were listening. That's what the higher-ups is using the news for. They're listening and watching for people and seeing how they respond to certain things. They know the only information that's being pushed through the masses as a communication is either through their articles that they run behind the scenes or on them dark webs or something that you wouldn't even expect, which is the movies or sci-fi, which is why they put that fiction on there to trick you. They say science fiction. No. Ain't no fiction. No, they want people to think that it's fiction, but they put in the truth in the science fiction movies, and then they teach the lies through the news. You understand? That's why I would tell people, go watch that movie, The Stand. All right? It will tell you about all this that's been happening, the psychic communication and all of that. You understand? So the key thing to remember with all of this, with that white lie matter, the state alteration and all of that, if we're saying we're going to correct a state, we're saying we're bringing you out of the darkness into the light. Meaning the state or the condition that your people are in, okay, is darkness. All right? He said, well, Faise, isn't fire light? I said, well, fire is light, but fire is associated with a lower reality. Okay? If you think about hell, what do people think about? What do most people think of? Hell. They think of fire. Okay? When you think about heaven, do you think about fire? No, but you still see heaven is lit up, right? Because those are two different fires. That's why you have what's referred to as the Orishas. Orisha, all right? The Orishas were the ones who were able to elevate in their own consciousness to be able to step through hell and heaven. Meaning they can walk through these realities as they choose. And they even took on forms and started to deal with elements. So you have Oya associated with this water. All of these people were working, and they were people at one point in time. And they elevated and transcended what human beings are referred to as now, or seeing as we are now, who are physical beings. They transcended that. You understand? So Ori is saying my light, or. Go look up or, it means light. And Ish is saying fire. You understand? So they're both lights. Yeah. But Lucifer came with a certain light, and Jesus came with a certain light. All right? There was a reason why we hid for you the sacred true light. Okay? So if there's a true light, then there must be a what? A false light. The same way, if there's a false prophet, there must be a what? A true prophet. The same way, if there's an antichrist or a false Christ, there will be many false Christs. Listen, there will be antichrists rising up who won't say that this person came in the flesh. All this stuff is being broken down. If there's an antichrist or a false Christ, then there must be a true Christ or true Christs with an S. He didn't say there's going to be one false Christ, right? He said there'll be false Christs. You with me? So Christ was saying somebody who was anointed or appointed. All right? Or Christ was saying somebody that was attracted or connected. You go look up the Christa word in our Sanskrit. You'll find somebody that has an attraction, okay, or connection. Appointed beings were, they were supposed to be the Christ. So just because you came up in this particular order, let's say we raise you up as a Mason. That don't mean that as a Mason, you're going to do the good works. We can raise you up as a Rosicrucian. That don't mean as a Rosicrucian, you're going to do the good works. Okay, watch this. I can raise you up as a Christian. Christian is an order. You call it whatever you want to call it. Christianity is an order. Islam is an order. All right? Buddhism is an order. Okay? Sikhism is an order. Jainism is an order. All of these things are orders put together to teach a certain way of life. All right? Where people will get something referred to as a carbon copy created, where you will model after, literally model or get in the mold of whatever L came before you. You will model after whoever that leader or that L was, or that elite being was, all right, and teach your children to do the same. Carbon copy. The same reason why the NOI was able to be so successful to this day, because they were able to get a carbon copy. All right? They're going to keep replicating and replicating. Say, all these, that's how soldiers were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Which is why the agreeable ones moved a certain way and the disagreeable ones moved a certain way. And if you look at these beings and they move, when you look at the Japanese army or the Korean armies, all right, you look at their feet all doing this. You know what I'm saying? They all they shit doing the same thing. They're not a single nigga. If one nigga burk and do this and everybody else doing this, yeah, they're going to get rid of him. The same way the NOI operated. The NOI will say, we're going to stick to this code. This is our moral law. All right, which moral law has multiple meanings. Moral law came from Allah first. All right, and was brought through far to them and Elijah Muhammad. All right, and set as more Al. Listen, when I'm saying more Al, I want to be more like Al. Who is Al? Elah. Who is El Elo? All right, God. I want to be more like God, so I'm going to replicate what God is. God wears a suit. God does. These are the teachings, okay, or the lessons. So when we say you're going to be pure, you're going to do this, you're not going to abuse the women, you're going to, okay, this is what you're supposed to do to be an upright man. All right, if you violate that, then you off post. You understand? More people should actually operate that way. Okay, so you have the moral law that was given to these people so that they could stay in order. All of these orders, okay, were supposed to raise people up to maintain the order. So watch this. Then you had disorders come out that are called orders. And those disorders were people like Anton LaVey's order, all right, which was the satanic order or the order of Satan or the synagogue of Satan, all right, because they spoke about the synagogue of Satan. In book of Revelation chapter 3 verse 9, and Revelation chapter 2 verse 9, you'll read about these people who claimed that they were rocking with the Israelites, all right, or claimed that they were that specific word of people who will fuck up your algorithm if you start throwing the name around, right? They were saying they were associated with that, and a lot of people have misinterpreted. That's why one of the things that I stepped on, it was like, yo, you got to stop misinterpreting or mistranslating, all right, which is really misinterpreting what's being said, because they never said that these people were the church of Satan. They never said that. They never said that these people, that group of people as a whole, was the synagogue of Satan. They said they know the blasphemy of those who say or claim that they are Jews and are not. You understand? So if you're claiming that you're one and you're not one, then you are by nature, because what would even make you do that? You're by nature associated with a gathering of, listen, synagogue, a gathering of shaitan, meaning opposition. You would be gathering amongst them as opposition if you're not one of the real Israelites. You understand? So you could be a so-called Hebrew Israelite, but if you haven't done your genealogy, which they say is impossible, interestingly enough, because I've talked to a lot of Hebrew Israelites, they say it's impossible. We got to go based off the prophecies. Okay, if you're going based off the prophecies, I mean, you're only believing that you're an Israelite. You don't know whether or not you're an Israelite. And I don't know why they start with the Deuteronomy thing or the repetition of the law to say that Deuteronomy was a prophecy. Deuteronomy was not a prophecy. Deuteronomy was a warning. So if those were your ancestors who they said, yo, you'll be blessed if you do this. You'll be cursed if you do this. All right. That means your ancestors chose to be cursed by doing whatever they said would happen if they chose to do that. That was not a prophecy. They didn't say that it was inevitable that you would be chained and have a yoke around your neck. None of this stuff was inevitable. But they gave you options the same way they're giving people options now, and people are choosing. You with me? But just to say, oh, you're a melanin dominant person, you met this person named Tazariak, and because you met Tazariak, he want to bring you over here, bless you with a name, you know what I'm saying, teach you about Ben Carter and all this stuff. Okay, cool, you learned about that, but did they ever background check you to find out who and what you are? You know what I'm saying? Did they actually find out whether or not you had ancestry or genealogy that ties to a man named Jacob? They haven't. You with me? So could it be that people who are claiming that they're Hebrew Israelites, which is not, it's interesting because you put the Hebrew in there, Hebrew, you're saying somebody that crossed over to be an Israelite. So you say you convert? I don't understand. It's interesting when you put them words over there to say you crossed over to being a tribe of Israel or the Israelites or the seed of Judah or whoever you're saying, okay, then the question is, if you have all these people packed together claiming that they're Israelites or claiming they are Jews, or that's what you're really saying, Judas, all right, or Judas, all right, people who are coming after Judah or Judah, all right, if you're saying that you're a part of that tribe, all right, and you haven't actually done a genealogy, you could be a part of the synagogue of Shaitan. It never meant that people who were from Poland or from Spain who claim to be the Jews or the Ashkenazi, whatever you want to call them, it never said that they were Church of Shaitan. You know what I mean? So you have to really get into what's actually being expressed. So there are gatherings now, or orders now, or houses now that were set up to keep disorder. Baphomet's order was out of order. It was disorder from the beginning. The fact that he had the goat head and the satyr legs, all right, was the disorder, because goat was referring to Pan, all right, and the satyr, I already broke that down, was the Saturn light, okay, or the satellite, or we say Set is the god of disorder, all right, and Or is light. So the god of disorder's light was the death shudder light, and that death shudder light was called what? Red light or amber light. So you have the amber light who came up under the crossroad or the anahata or the green light, and then you had the green light that was above all the way up to the crown light, okay, which gave you the yield of the ultraviolet or beyond purple, which was the white light, which everybody was supposed to have that as their essence when they crossed over them roads. Are y'all with me? So because the music industry is still showing to this day what the rock, listen to it, the rock, as in Peter meant rock, okay, or the stone artist, all right, they want everybody to be stoned. Remember Young Thug came and said, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner, I'm a stoner. All right, he was saying he was attached to the stone. If you think I'm lying, then why did Young Thug come out with the snake movement? You understand? Why did they amplify the snakes or the serpents? And I told people back when I was in high school, I said, anytime you have a movement of snakes and people are associating themselves with it and they're proud to be snakes, I said something went wrong. Why would you be proud of it? There was never a point in time in history where you called somebody a snake and you meant a good thing. You said, you a snake. You know what I mean? You didn't receive a gift and say, oh, you should have, you such a snake. You never said that. Snakes meant somebody that was going to snake you. Listen, if I said it, the snake became a bird. So everybody knows what a snake is, but for some reason, just because Bobby Hemming done said some shit about medicine back in the ancient Egyptian days because he heard Dr. York say it, all right, now motherfuckers think that the snake was supposed to be good, but they forgot about Apep. They forgot about Apophis. They forgot about the one who was literally associated with Set, all right, or the god of disorder, who at one point in time Set was supposed to be helping protect Ra from, but then Set went dark. And when Set went dark, what happened? They said, oh, you're the god of disorder. Set went on to be Satut. Set went on to be Seti. Set went on to be Satan. Set went on to be Satan. All right. And now you have these satellites or the red light technology, which you'll find in the 2001 Space Odyssey movie as Hal, H-A-L, okay, which is Halal, all right, or Heli, okay. You got these pieces of technology floating, all right, called satellites. that are monitoring everything that's happening, including this. You know what I mean? They can see the whole reality, okay? And they came out and they said, we want to trap this reality, okay? Or this world is what I'm saying. And what's referred to as a World Wide Web. You with me? So you ask yourself, who are the ones who weave the webs? The ones who weave the webs are called spiders. And I told you, look at it phonetically. When you're saying spider, you're saying spy door. The door that they're able to look. It's a door. Look, it's rectangle. I mean, they're looking at me right now. They said, this motherfucker right here. You know what I mean? They said, this nigga actually doing it. He was actually listening to what the fuck he said. We thought that all the right knowledge ones had faded away. We thought all the green light ones had faded away. We thought when we locked MLK up, that was it. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all been on here and seen tricky shit happen. And we come back on here and say, see, it's what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's a spy door. Okay, what do they call Young Thug? They call him Spider. You want to know something interesting? Of course you do. Kai Sanat was on his Twitch live stream, right? Or his live stream. And he was yelling at the screen, right? Because Michael won, right? And he was like saying something. He's like, everybody calm down. He said, everybody calm the fuck down. He said, I don't even know who the fuck this is. He was talking about Killer Mike. I don't even know who the fuck this is. You know, peace to you, brother. Positivity to you, brother. Congratulations, da 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 da. He said, then positivity out the window. He said, positivity out the window. Listen, right? He said, who decided this motherfucker? Who decided this motherfucker? And he started naming the other albums, all right, that went to war with Michael. Listen to what I'm telling you, and you'll hear it. A wise person hear one word, overstand two. He started listening to other weapons that didn't work when they had that war in the heavens. Remember, stars are celebrities, all right? There was a war in the heavens, all right? Remember, Drake was competing with Michael just last year, after I dropped my Michael album. All right, you heard Drake coming out talking about, you know, he had the little glove on, the Michael glove. Remember? Listen, he had the Michael glove on, and they were fighting for Billboard, Billy's board. Remember, Billy, the Billy Goats, they have their own board. All right, where they keeping their own score, and they telling their own story. And on billboards, all right, they were saying, we're trying to see who got more hits. What is a hit? When you think of a hit, what is niggas doing? They fighting a war. Listen to what I'm telling you. All right? So this nigga Kai Sanat, okay, was screaming at the screen, saying, who decided this motherfucker? Who said Michael won? Who was the one who said Michael won? All right? Now, if you've been walking with me, I said that. But not only did I say it, it was already written. This is how it was written, and this is how it shall be. Revelation chapter 12 spoke about Michael and the dragon called Drake fighting and battling. And Michael won, right? Even when they were trying to say, oh, Drake won. It's all an illusion. Y'all hold on, y'all hold tight. It's all an illusion. The dragon will not win, right? I remember when Dr. York was saying, literally, he said, he ain't going to win, y'all. He said, it's going to look like he going to win. He ain't going to win. Are y'all listening to me? So this nigga yelling at the screen, he said, who decided that this motherfucker wins? Who decided that Michael was album of the year? Do you understand that I have an album called Michael that came out 9/11? What was album of the year? Michael. I didn't even know Killer Mike was still doing shit since the Run of Jewel shit. I ain't seen nothing from him since like 2018, 2017. You understand? I had no idea about this album. It popped up as the album of the year. So what was the album of the year? Michael. My album that the world don't even know of yet. It's in the world, but the world don't comprehend it yet. They don't even know. They haven't obtained it. The world comprehended it not, that the true light is out here. How it's out here. They ain't going to see it yet until I ask them, how many more events, how many more green light events do you need for you to be able to understand? When I say the color is green, that's the color. How many more green lights you need? You done seen green lights all over in the sky. North Carolina getting aurora lights. They done came into Aurora Curl, the little green light shit is behind it, the little lime green thing, there's a line over across it. They found that shit in the sky. That shit was projected from my fucking bedroom. You know what I mean? Because NASA said, oh shit, we done found a Christmas tree, a star constellation. All that shit was green. They said in New York, walked outside, they said, what the fuck? There's a green flood. You know what I mean? They came out with a movie, Aquaman. All right, what was it? The Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. The whole movie was featuring green light. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing they was fighting was green light. You know what I mean? How many more green light events do you need? You seen Q the Storm come out with the green light, talking about the White House is the green light? You know what I mean? Or the White House had the green light on it? How many more green light events do you need? I told you before we came out with a green light event, if you go back and listen to my old lives, all right, which are on the live archive page, Phase 1 live archive. You go back and listen to them old lives. In them lives, I was saying, I'm telling you, when I say the color is green, it's green. What am I citing or reciting? Wasn't there a person in a movie that had power? There was a movie called The Wiz. And when The Wiz said the color is blue, the color was blue. All right? When The Wiz said the color was green, the color was green. Notice that when each of those colors came through, it was a whole different mood. When each of those colors came through, there was a whole different pattern that showed up that was reflected amongst the whole population of the people that were affected by that light. I'm telling you now, if you didn't know what the green light was, but you started shining that green light around you, or you put up a green light in your house, since I told you to do it back November 6th of last year, which is November. What is November? The November is actually supposed to be the 9 month. Never forget that. Because Noeve or Novin or Novum was saying, what? 9. Go look at what I'm telling you. That 9th month, when I came out and spoke about that green light and did the whole science of green light class, if you've been streaming that green light, I'm telling you, if you would have even tried to put a red light in your home right now, it wouldn't be on for 30 seconds. Now you would know from switching from green light to red light, you would know what the red light has been doing. So that's a tangible representation of what everybody's been running their mouth trying to say. We've been talking about raising our frequency for all these years, and nobody ever thought it's time. Bring forth the actual tangible, all right, science of the green light, where people can actually surround themselves with the green light. Now, Doc did it. Dr. MLK did it, but everybody want to act like it didn't happen. Are you with me? So if there is a true light that starts your true ascension process, and if I rub my hands together, my hands are ascending. So let's not spiritualize ascension. Ascension happens in science. When you're going through the different states of matter, from your solid to your liquid to your gas, all right, from your salt to your mercury to your sulfur if you're an alchemist, all right, and if you're not, you'll become one, okay? Then that's saying ascension. And if you're going to ascend, you have to speed up. And if you're going to speed up, you have to heat up. So this green light is literally charged faster, all right? It's on a higher frequency as far as the nanometers. When they recording these as nanometers on their spectrum, okay, than red is, or orange or yellow, all right? But most people have orange or yellow lights in their home. And don't even know what I'm saying. If you just up it 1 more degree or 2 more degrees, okay, then there's going to be a visceral awareness that's going to come. So you may not have known it, but if you try to put a red light in your house, you try to turn on a red light, you're going to be like, wait a minute, it's going to be beating too slow. So we're going into blue soon. You know what I mean? So you're going to get what I'm telling you. There's a different type of wisdom out here. So what am I saying? There's a false light and a true light. There was somebody who came as a false prophet. There was somebody who came as a true prophet. You got real spiritual people, and then you got people who just trying to get some money. That's all this shit is to them. It never meant nothing. It meant money. It meant clout, some attention. You know what I mean? They can use these common words that everybody go crazy over that they never heard them before, and they can manipulate you until Phase 1 step up and say, wait a minute. Hold on one hot one. Let me ask you a question. They say, oh, shit. Niggas just be terrified. When I be like, let me ask you a question, niggas was literally terrified of that, especially on Clubhouse. I be in there talking, you know what I'm saying? They be in there talking, but as soon as niggas say some shit and I gotta do this, if I'm on my phone, I gotta do this. Oh yeah, next thing is gonna come. I'm like, let me ask you something. Here you go. Yeah, here we go. Let's all go there. But let me ask you something. You just said fourth dimension, correct? Can you describe that for me? Yeah. For those who get it. There's always some sassy answer. Those are the guys who get it. I'm like, that's not even our shit. You know, listen, they don't know what 4D is. They don't know nothing about a 4D, 5D, none of that. Listen, they cannot describe that, but they steady saying it. You know what I mean? Then when I tell you got all these weirdos, talking about some, he don't believe the ancestors. And you got to ask them, who is the everybody's answer? What are you talking about? Everybody got different answers. Your mama, not my mama. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? I don't believe the ancestors. And why do people think the ancestors mean good people? Why do people think the ancestors mean like, yo, George Washington Carver, peanut butter, not Jim Jones. That nigga was at the fucking jail system, you know what I'm saying, 90% of his life. He didn't do shit for the fucking peanut butter sandwiches you eat today. Not everybody has something to do with the traffic light. Niggas walking around with the traffic light like he did it. Bro, you don't even know what's in the traffic light. You can't even tell me how it changes colors. You know what I mean? What it is? You know what I'm saying? Niggas is mentioning ancestors like we all know. Let me stop right there. You say we was this. What are you talking about? We was this. We was kings. Everybody was? How do you have a system? I know they had hierarchies, right? They had peasants. They had all that. So you tell me there were no peasants. You mean to tell me there was no poor people? Nobody was struggling. There was never a famine. None of it. Everybody was kings. Everybody was gods. You got to stop it. The bullshit is done. As soon as this type of truth, listen, you can't go back. As soon as somebody bring these types of points up to you, like, wait a minute, yeah. How was we all kings? Listen, you was all goddesses and gods. You was all kings and queens. All of us. Oh yeah, this is why you say there are children of the Most High. Yeah, they put that in the book, but they also say you are of your father the devil. They are children of the devil. You say we all God's children. Are we? You know what I mean? Even the fucking serial killers? Yeah, that's God's child. Come on now. All right? So there's a whole different conversation where you think God means some spirit that's good. When he literally said, yo, I don't know what they talking about good shit. Listen, I create peace and evil, nigga. Get up with me. That's what it's in the book. He said, nigga, I create peace and evil. Right? Nobody was in the flood was like, oh shit, I'm so grateful for this bath. Nobody was doing that. When they was drowning, they said there's some evil shit. And he could have texted us. Nobody didn't tell us that we was fucking up. You know what I mean? But they said Noah was like, yo, listen to me. They didn't want to listen to Noah. So he didn't send himself, he sent Noah. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know who the fuck Noah is. Tell him to come talk to me if he want. If he don't think I'm supposed to be setting up shop, selling this shit, I had to tell him to come talk to me. He know where the fuck we at. Next thing you know, niggas be like, is it drizzling? Oh, it's been drizzling for 40 days. Nigga, I think we need to run. You know what I'm talking about? Nobody looked up and say, yo, there's some good shit that's falling out the sky. All right, they probably did for the first 2 days, but after a while, they say, yo, anybody realize it hasn't stopped raining yet? And they drowned. All these people, listen, the animals drowned. The animals still to this day, they don't even know. They in heaven, they cool, they done got over it, but they still don't know what the fuck they did. It's gonna be a deer one day that's gonna rise up and be like, yo, let me talk to y'all niggas. What the fuck did we do to get up here so damn early? I mean, they not upset. My point is they're not upset that they did. Y'all not listening. It's just that they don't know why they did. They don't know what the fuck they even did. You got niggas who trying to make up shit, say the human sin bled off on them. We sweated our sins. Listen, my point is there's too much confusion. Then as soon as the good points come, where people say, wait a minute, and you get up on that good foot, you say, oh shit, we've been beguiled. We've been bamboozled. We've been hoodwinked. We've been ran amok all over again. And it's by some of the people who you putting up on these pedestals as leaders. And you have to ask yourself why some of these so-called leaders are accepted amongst all of these so-called oppressors. You know what I mean? So no, it's all a game. All right? At the end of the day, literally at the end of the day, all right, you would have had to have some food, you know, something to drink, all right, a place to lay your head, even if it's under a bridge. You have to be able to take care of yourself and provide shelter from inclement weather. All right, you got to be able to breathe clean oxygen. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is what you have to do. So what is it about at the end of the day? Survival. It's a survival game. So you ask yourself, how are people who are claiming that they higher level and having higher level conversations so concerned about what's happening on the fucking riverbank? And their whole thing is they want you to invest in their bank. Or their whole thing is they want you to bank with them or bank on what they say. What are you talking about? They want you to show up and pay them so they can talk to you about some shit. You know what I mean? They up there though. They higher level. They beyond all of this. They're guys. They're creators and all kind of shit. And I be like, yo, I seen niggas talking about some Umar Johnson recently with the Black Wall Street. Whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. Listen. Since you've been listening to me, listen to all the time. Black Wall Street. It don't even sound like some shit that's going nowhere. Black, it means hidden or trapped, or it doesn't have an identity, meaning they don't even know what the fuck it is. It's a question mark. Remember Mortal Kombat? I mean, when you saw the black character, he wasn't unlocked. He was not yet free. You had to go through so many quests, listen, and ask the right questions, okay, and beat those quests and complete those levels in order to unlock whoever. So what the fuck is Black Wall? Umar Johnson, Black Wall Street. Umar Johnson was giving you the Black Wall Street speech in somebody else's building. Do y'all get the game yet? Y'all don't. Does anybody understand what I'm saying?
Hell no.
Y'all tell me, yo, y'all gotta ask this man where the school that y'all paid for is, right? Because black people don't even know it's already there. but it just needed plumbing. So you mean tell me for 11 years you couldn't install plumbing? 11 years you couldn't get the AC? Listen, are y'all with me? They done played games. So now the voice out here is like, oh no. No, the games is over. And they thought that that was it. So y'all give people too much credit. They said, we don't give enough people credit. You give people too much credit. You don't become fans of people. You never were supposed to do that. You became fans of people who supposed to be bringing you out of fan or out of pan. And remember, pan and fan phonetically is the same. All right? You know, fan is short of fanatics. Okay? So what's the addict of a fan? All right? The heart trucker. They can't go beyond that. They don't see themselves as stars. All right? They're fan addicts. And you can't go beyond that addict until you go beyond that addict. That's why I opened up the How to Speak Elite book by saying, look, first of all, I am one of the elite. Let's get it clear. I'm one of the elite. It's just what it is. Do what you got to do with it. I said, but I'm not the only one. I see y'all as having the same ability as being the elite. People think elite mean riches. Listen, I could walk outside tomorrow and trip down the stairs and hit my head on a lottery ticket. And I can get up and I'll be $500 million in the pocket. Then, now I'm elite. It took me to fall down the stairs and bump my head on the lottery ticket. But you'd be like, oh, he one of the ones. Oh, we knew he was. Yo, you didn't know. Listen, this is just a fucking ticket. What's so stupid is that this little bitty ass ticket with some numbers on it will make 500 million people treat you different. And you think it's not hard to fool the masses? Listen, it's not hard to fool the masses. Let me tell you something that they probably don't want to tell you, all right? When you become an intellect, which everybody in here is to a certain degree, everybody has their own degree of intellect. But when you become an intellect that actually uses the knowledge, okay, to put it to work, KUs, like we spoke about earlier, all right, and you come with your own righteous cause, okay, that's why the original G's will get behind you as long as it's a righteous cause. They ain't gonna respond for no bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Or no petty shit. It's all about righteous causes. When you do that and you access that true light, all right, once you find out what's been hidden, once you find out what words mean what and what organizations did what, and you find out the true story, the mystery, not history, when you come back over here, it's like you graduated from college, all right, with a master's, and they send you back to pre-K. You come back over into this world, it's like, what? This is nothing. Are you with me? So they want people to stay in pre-K, but when you go up them schools, who is the data we're talking about? Let's clear it up. All right? Anybody in any situation, okay, who is trying to abuse their power. Anybody in any situation that is abusing their power, that's an elite being who doesn't want you to ascend. It's the motherfucker who, in your community, all right, who's what's called hood rich. And he having his way. He ain't having God way. He having his way. And he a hood rich nigga. All right, he buying the females. All right, he buying niggas off. Okay, he conquering the block because he got 50 grand. He gonna be the god of his hood all summer with 50,000. You understand? But let a nigga start making some money, all right, he gonna become the enemy to whoever this being is. Thanks. As soon as he start making some money. All right, which is why when they came through with them PPP loans and all that shit, you had the rappers like Trouble in them who was like all this new money, and y'all trying to do all this. Whoa, why? Because in all actuality, nobody was looking up to them niggas when they had the money. The only reason why they looking up to y'all niggas and think y'all was doing some shit is because you had an illusion associated with you. I don't see that. There's not a single person who they could point to me their bank account and tell me that that's what makes them rich. It might be something to you, but it's not a single person. I've been around billionaires, millionaires, 100,000aires, 10,000aires, and a nigga who, look, nigga, I'm rubbing these two pennies together. It's going to spark a fire. We're going to be able to cook food with it. I mean, I've been around it, and we should be able to see that that's who people are. The character that they possess. The ability to struggle on purpose if need be in order to make do for another day. The ability to help other people, not what the fuck you could have did for yourself. Listen, if you say, I made a way for myself. You know how all these millionaires and billionaires get upset when people start asking them for help? They say, I had to do this. I had to do. Okay, you had that. All right, you did it. Now you got there. Do everybody else have to do that? Does everybody else have to do what you did? Does the youth have to go through what you went through just because you had to go through to be able to get in position? And now that you're in position, you have way more than you need. You're not going to spend all of that in your life. You got way more than you need. You want them to struggle for the chance that you know is very slim to get into the position that you in, and they're not asking to be in your position, they just asking for a little help. You understand? And niggas swear it down. I ain't had no help. I ain't do this. Okay, who are your clients? I found my own clients. Did they buy from you? Yeah, you had help. What the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? I had built my business myself, and now I own a dealership. I actually produce the cars, but you're not selling it to your damn self. Everybody had help, silly goose. It doesn't matter what the fuck you do. Everybody had help. So if your help got you to be a 10 millionaire, and you see somebody on the side of the road that just needs some food in their belly for that day, where you're straight for a few generations, they just need some food in their belly for that day, and you see them and say, nobody helped me, not only did you just lie, you just showed your nature. You see yourself as an elite, and you're struggling, you're fighting to survive with the illusion. And in your mind, you think you're thriving because of that. In my mind, I laugh. You understand? It's people who are multimillionaires depressed in the motherfucker. You know what I mean? I did this shit myself their way out of relationships. You know what I mean? Friendships. All right? People in their family don't fuck with them. Okay? They don't, the whole thrill of having to pay prostitutes done ran out. That ain't working with them no more. They lonely, they trying to experience spirituality, but they can't find the right thing. And you got all this money. It never meant anything. So there's nobody who has money. You got to remember that. That's all an illusion. You don't have money. You may have the opportunity to access some shit and be like, oh, I can put my hands on this. I can put my hands on. That's why I gave the joke, which was a reality. You say, oh, nigga, to say he got $100,000. He said, nigga, I got $100,000. Can you show me $100,000? Say, yeah, give me 2 days. Right? I come back to the house. I got $100,000. He said, okay, cool. We turn on the news. They talking about, man, just robbed the bank. What? I showed you 100,000. What are you talking about? You had 100,000. Now I got 100,000. Now we the same, right? Now we should be able to kick it with each other. No, it's bullshit. It never meant anything. What these elite care about, that's the only thing that separates these elite who are the actual elite or the eternal elite as they trying to declare themselves, or the Illuminati as they trying to declare themselves. All right? The only thing that's different from them and the person that's in your community doing that stupid shit with the 50K or the 100K trying to make it seem like they're above people is they're speaking about resources over here. But these motherfuckers trying to just take in as many liabilities as they can. They want more responsibilities that they can't handle. They just want more shit that don't mean anything to depreciate. All right? And then, let me take you further. How the fuck does something appreciate in value or depreciate in value? How? Because you said so, right? Then you got a car and say, my shit is depreciated. Why? Because they told me as soon as I drove it out the lot, it started not being worth shit no more. Who the fuck convinced you of that when Tupac car sold for damn near, you know what I'm saying, $1 billion? I don't know how the fuck that much shit sold for. It sold for a lot of damn dollars. You know what I'm saying? And that he been gone, and he been not driving that shit. And I don't even think he was driving the shit. You feel what I'm saying? No, the value comes from here. That's the value. Tomorrow, if they say the dollar crash, okay, and they say now the money is obsolete, it means nothing. You have to go outside and collect rocks, all right? And the rocks got to be less than 2 inches, okay? It got to be this size of a rock. And then you can trade that, and each of those rocks got the value of what would have been $100 US. Motherfuckers be out here killing each other over the rocks that's outside of their backyard. You don't get the fuck out my backyard. You know what I'm saying? They're my rocks. Hey, you know how many people would die tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? If they come out and say some shit like that, people would die tomorrow about the rocks that they just would have kicked. You ain't telling them niggas to kick rocks no more. You said kick rocks. You ain't telling niggas to do that no more. You like, yo, if you find a rock, bring it to me. You with me? Just because they put out a color and people accepted it and it changed the whole mood. So when they come forth with that light and say, Corona, red, the color is red, Corona, right? And people say, color is red. Red causes anxiety. All right? Red is a symbol of alert, okay? Or the color of alert or an emergency. Red is the color of blood. Red is the color of war. Red, if you surround, why do you think horror movies use red all the damn time? It's all red. Red this, red that, or dark colors. They might use other colors, but they'll darken them. You know what I mean? They don't shoot the horror movies with all this bright atmosphere and happy music and punchlines. No, unless they're trying to give you a gag. You know what I mean? They literally film that shit to scare you. Listen, even down to the tones. If you're watching a movie, all right, next time you're watching a movie, they got like suspense in it and thrill and all this horror, all this other bullshit. Next time you're watching a movie, hit mute. Listen, if the scene even seemed like it's scary or thrilling or suspenseful, hit the mute button and watch the shit not even be none of that anymore. Because they selling you a whole reality. The picture you're seeing or the video is just the illusion itself. Seeing is believing, meaning seeing is being lied to, all right, or you accepting whatever the fuck you seeing. You have to be able to be an adept or add depth to what you're seeing to be able to go beyond that. That's why I gave you the science of the video game and showed you how 6, VI equals 6, and DO, DEO means God. Okay? So when you're saying video, you're literally saying, you're also saying VI Deo, okay, which means literally the 6th God. And that 6th God was all about illusion. This whole world you live in is called the matrix illusion or the simulation, simulation. All right? And I told you the only way to get out of a simulation is to have assimilation. Because with assimilation, now you have the knowledge. Now you can put all the facts together. All right? And you've assimilated the knowledge to get out of an assimilation. Assimilation is deception. You with me? So when it come through with that deception or those deceptive lights, you don't have to accept it. All right? But when people accept it, they say, yo, we're in danger. All right? We're going to die because they told us we're going to die. All right? This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Well, then what wound up happening is that brain say, oh, shit, I'm in danger. And it started to activate the parts of their body that said we need to survive. And that's what caused for a lot of people to get sick, by the way, especially in the cold season. You're terrified. Your body is saying, I need to survive and fight some shit that's supposed to be right there in front of you. That shit was not there in front of you. That's why Trump kept screaming invisible enemy. Didn't nobody know where the fuck this shit was or where it was coming from. What even is this that you're talking about? All right? But I told you what it was about. All right? So now you have Killer Mike come out with an album called Michael, June 16th, Tupac birthday. Call it whatever you want to call it. All right? But don't call it a coincidence. Because all of these events happening alongside each other is not a coincidence. It's synchronicities at that point. Are you with me? And these different occurrences have come forth to show you that Michael was the significant name of the year 2023. All right? Miguel, remember Miguel, the rope shit? When Miguel hooked himself up to the rope and was hanging from the ceiling, and we came on here and broke that down. And I showed you, I said, look, Miguel got a song called Number 9. And I've been speaking about the Number 9 shit for the long. Listen, last year, KRS-One, knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everything. All right? KRS-One was going viral because somebody walked up to KRS-One and randomly started rapping about the Number 9. Y'all remember that? When I was explaining, I said, all the people talking about 9 ether, all this other shit, they got it directly from MLK York. Okay? Who was also called the Angel Michael, by the way. All right? So it was said that Michael was going to prevail. So we had Michael. Why I say Miguel? Miguel is Michael. Go look up Miguel and what it means. And then you'll find that it's a variation of the word Michael. So Miguel and Michael. All right. Miguel had the rope. Remember, the rope was tying up to the ceiling, which means it was connected to the heavens. In my book, How to Love Again, that came out in 2022, I spoke of that exact occurrence. A rope, okay, or a vine that will connect you to the heavens. Okay, and that's how you will become like God or reestablish the connection that they severed, okay, the moment that you were birthed into this reality, which is why they said, oh, human beings are born into sin, okay, or sin. And when you say sin, it's in that moon god, ancient Mesopotamian moon god, who is called Zuin, and his color is none other than red. And I said, in order for you to get out of this Babylon reality that is called the Zuin world, all right, you have to reestablish that divine connection, which is divine, literally, and that divine literally gives you the color green when you think of a vine, okay? You have to connect from Zuin out of here to Zion, which means you have to go from the root and use that light caduceus. Because there are two deuces, all right, or two dues, or deuces, or duce, right? And then you have Deo, okay? So two spirits or two gods that you can listen to in order to climb up whatever ladder they were going to give you to climb up. But it took more energy, as I broke down in How to Love Again, it took more energy to get up the stairs than it did to fall down the stairs. All right? It took more energy for you to climb up to the higher planes than it did for you to fall into the lower planes. So as long as you held on to that rope, what is that? Quran chapter 3, verse 103. Hold fast. And we fasted all year last year. Hold fast to the rope. That's what they literally said, of Allah. All right, all together, meaning do it collectively when you fast. Listen to what I'm telling you by tone. all right? And see to it that you are not divided, okay? And they told you that you were saved at one point in time. When all of you on the brink of fire, things happened. People came through to intervene to help you, all right, so that you wouldn't fall. And they highlighted the rope, okay? As a matter of fact, it's the last word that was uttered, okay? The last piece of the revelation that was given. Hold fast, okay, to the rope all together, the rope of God. If you didn't know, if you didn't like Allah, but I hope one day y'all get over that because you need to, all right? God, Allah. Okay, as a matter of fact, God couldn't have been the name. You have to know better than that. So you say Yahweh, whatever you need to say, divine. Hold fast to the rope of it. Connect back to that old time way of life, okay, or that old deen, or ancient deen, the way of life that said order, which brought you back around to Dawah. You with me? So in the book, How to Love Again, I gave the same sciences that showed up in the movie They Cloned Tyrone. All right, where they asked, what do you do when you want to get out of Babylon? They said, what? They showed the scene of a church called Mount Zion. I put it in my book, y'all. Then they made it a movie. All right? The church of Mount Zion. Okay? And who was showing the way? A man called Asa. All right? Asa. Okay? When you say Jesus, but it's the same name. Asa. And Imam Asa is Dr. MLK. Go look it up. Imamisa. Imam Asa. Okay? The one who first brought forth the green light as MLK did with us. All right? Before this day and time. So now all you have is a reminder. I told you already I'm a reminder. When I wrote the rehab book, I'm explaining these things, reminder. I got a book called Out of the Darkness, a reminder. It's not that I created the concepts, okay? It's that I took the con out of it and said, you don't got to accept it anymore. And said, come out of that darkness. I showed you how to do this, okay? So we go back to that reality of elitehood, all right? And why people are saying, yo, keep these people in the dark. Let us continue to be the ones who hold blackness above their head and we keep the light for ourselves. Even Masonry taught us that. They said, you're never supposed to reveal. I said, bullshit. What's wrong? We never supposed to reveal? Look at me. All right. So they said, you got to get an oath. He said, yo, repeat after me. Oh, yeah, I'm going to repeat after it. I'm going to say, when you standing here, I'm going to say the shit, but when you gone, it's bullshit. What are you talking about? The whole book that I'm holding, all right, was speaking about Revelation. It got a whole chapter called Revelation. What are you talking about? The mystery of God had to be complete and revealed. This whole shit, apocalypse, means take the lid off. So I'm going to hold this shit as a lid this whole fucking time and not do this. The lid has to come off. What are you talking about? We gotta. All right, whatever. That's why they try to get upset with me. They say, yo, you're breaking the oath. You're breaking the oath. This is all we have is our word. I say, yo, my oath is to the Most High and the Most High alone. What are you talking about? My oath is not to man. I don't give a fuck what them niggas say. What are you talking about? My whole thing was to go in there, get the shit that they had in there, and bring that shit back. What? Now, you can't take it. I have it. You know what I mean? That's why they can only kick it. They know they can't take it. Once you gain access to them sacreds behind them large walls, bro, you come out, yeah, you did die. Because you can't be the same person. Because your whole world is built off of those Masonic principles. Your whole literal world, down to the right angle, all right, or that cornerstone, all right? Your whole process in your Christianity religion is speaking about the same thing that the Masons talking about. Your whole process in the religion of Islam is speaking about the same thing the Masons talking about. Masonry is the oldest foundation that you have, or the oldest order that you have, because Masonry was about out of darkness into light. You called it different things. You called it the Essenes. You called it the Masons the Essenes at one point in time. You called them the Magi at one point in time. You called them, who was it? The wise men, the same thing, right? You called it the people who came in the order of Melchizedek at one point in time. You called them a lot of things. You called the ascended masters Buddhas, which mean people who were awakened, or Bodhis, who were people who were messengers. All right, you call people different things. All right, Bodhi and angel is the same word if you speak about a translation. All right, or Buddha is an angel, which is why the Buddhists don't call Buddha God. Anybody who walked behind Buddha and study his teaching, they know he was never God. When people say the Hindu God, Buddha, wrong. All you gotta do is talk to them for 5 seconds, they'll tell you that's not God. They never said. They said Jesus is God. And he was like, yo, I'm not the Father, only the Father is good. I pray to my Father, I go back to my Father, and they still didn't get it. They said, no, he's God. He would say, yo, why you... Listen, my name is Jesus. When you look at the Father, you see me. Yeah, when you look at me, you see my dad. What are you talking about? When I look at y'all, I see y'all mama and dad. What are you saying? Yeah, I am the Father of one. Yeah, me and my mama is one. It seems like it should be so clear, but it's not clear. Okay? And then they brag on his death, which doesn't make sense to me. They say, oh, Jesus died for us. But you don't think that when they said that it was possible that he could have evaded that death, that would have been more of a representation of what the power, a presentation of what the power of the Most High would have been, how the fuck you gonna kill God for even a second? What would happen if God died for 1 second? Like, bro, what the hell? They telling you a story, making you think that it's all about the blood. It's all about somebody's blood. No, if you're saying blood, you're saying genes. So then we having a whole different conversation scientifically, which is why they say in the book of Amos, all right, in the book of Amos chapter 9, they were explaining about these beings who were extraterrestrials coming back to this place as the guys of the Elohim, all right, and sifting through the nations like you do with a comb to find out or find or retrieve the chosen ones. So all this, I'm chosen, you're electrified, that wouldn't have mattered because they said that it was going to come back and sift and find them anyway. You would have had to be that or not be that by that time. You with me? So the key thing for people to remember is a lot of these religious orders were based off of the same principles, all right, or all of these religious orders, if it's an order, were based off the same principles that Masonry was based off of, okay, which was preparing people for that war. So remember we said Michael and his angels, okay, fought the dragon and his angels. We've explained that the drake is the dragon. I explained that when he was saying to Aubrey, okay, you literally got the Albrick, okay, was saying to the ruler of the elves, and the elf is a fallen angel. And I explained the whole breakdown of why Drake came out with an album called, what? To All the Dogs. The dogs, not the guys. And if you know, the dogs were the ones who were said to carry the jinn. If you come from that school, if you don't, I'm telling you, the dogs were the ones who carried the jinn. We didn't do dogs. Dogs were not allowed in the home. They just weren't. Now, a cat might have been allowed, okay, because they were closer to the frequency. They were more silent. You know what I'm saying? They would clean themselves. It's all about frequency. But them loud-ass, barking-ass beasts were not allowed in our home. Ain't no such thing as they getting in our bed, licking us in our face, and other than that was not our thing. Okay, but somehow it became man's best friend. Well, I wasn't in the order of man then. With me, I was in the order of the Sphinx and beyond. And I walked through the paws of the Sphinx. And I accessed the ninth chamber. There was no reason for me to play around with Anubis and them. You know what I'm saying? But for the ones who was up under that dark order, they did. You know what I mean? Because that's all the secrets they had. But all of that was set up anyway. So the dog became man's best friend. And there was a dog that was called Harvey, all right, when there was a being called Sam Carr. And we spoke about Sam earlier. And never forget, Sam is Samael, all right? When you say Uncle Sam, you say Uncle Samael, all right? An adopted uncle of yours. And he walked into your life a long time ago before you even realized. I'm speaking about your bloodline, okay? And started to mix in and all kinds of things, a whole different conversation, all right? But Samael poisoned the bloodline. Samael poisoned the water. You go look up what Samael means. Get into the genes and affect how they feel and all the Eddie Brock. Remember the Eddie Brock character? He was eating all kind of stuff he wouldn't have been eating and doing all kind of stuff he wouldn't have been doing. It's a parasite. Something that latched onto you that people been trying to baptize away. People have been trying to scream away and shout away. People been trying to exorcise away for thousands of years. And it seems like we can't get that spirit about human beings that just wants to go against the order. All the warnings have been given, but it seems like they still want to go against the order, which is confusing to us. But the point is, when you think about these beings like Sam, all right, or Azazilla, and the rest of these other beings, they were the ones who were associated with these dark orders, all right? So that's the dragon. So you got the elf ruler, all right? And that, remember I told you about that Sam being, the whole Sam breakdown, where they said there was a being called Sam Carr, who was telling David Berkowitz, and I tell you, look, Berkowitz is found on Drake album cover, because he put the letters BW on there. And you got to tell me what BW mean, right? BW is Berkowitz. And the word Berko is saying berserk. Go look it up. Or in a frenzy. All right? So you say Berko berserk. And Witz is saying your brain. So when your brain is in a frenzy or you go berserk, all right, which is what this nigga David Berkowitz did, he went crazy. And he killed 6 people. 6 people. All right? He was also called the 44 caliber. And I showed you that Drake was wearing a shirt that had the number 44 on it in the video that he did with J. Cole, the song he did with J. Cole that was first person shooter. All right. And they were playing chess. Okay. And J. Cole had a line in there that was like something about niggas talking about they want office. They must be talking about the corner, something like that, a corner office or something like that. Y'all remember my song God Did? And my song God Did, I said, if I'm in office, all right, I came from bodies. I came for bodies. Give me the corner one. They opened up the music video with niggas in the corner office and J. Cole working with the Dragon. Remember in the Survive song, I said, I wonder why J. Cole didn't want to sign a nigga. I was 18. I met J. Cole on my 18th birthday, 1 + 8, 9. And we had a whole conversation about this very day where he was asking me, said, how you going to get your generation to listen to what you're saying? I said, they listen to me when I talk. I said, if they listen to me when I talk, then all I have to do is take that same care of being able to have a conversation with somebody. You can't talk to somebody if you're talking over them. You can't talk to somebody if you're talking over them. Meaning you trying to say words that go beyond what they understand. Or meaning you trying to, you know what I'm saying, put the lingo in. No, you can talk to somebody to be able to have a voice that works on sound of many waters. Meaning we can hit many octaves, many different nations can come around and sit when we talk. It's just what it is. I don't know how it's how they gave it to us. All right, we're multilingual. We speak with many tones. So somebody hearing it this way, somebody hearing it that way, but we hitting all the octaves. Okay? I said if people listen to me when I talk, all I got to do is take that science and put it into the music. So if I care enough to know the lingo of who I'm speaking to, or be able to project and articulate as an orator, all right, to be able to reach their minds, so that I'm not just speaking. What I'm saying is it's charged with the care. It's charged with the nigga. I need you to get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's charged with that. If I'm doing that with speaking to them, and I got all these people who are in Carver High School who were listening to me and learning all these sciences, and we are young guys, okay, well then cool. All I got to do is do the same thing with the music. So I'm going to make music that sound like what they used to. But they're going to listen to the music because it sounds like what they used to. But then they're going to come back and listen to it years later after they realize where I've been taking them and where I've been walking them, which is toward the true light. And they're going to hear my songs a whole different way. And that happened. It became exactly what I said. I said, as a matter of fact, all y'all people who claiming that you're doing conscious and real music and spiritual music, don't ever drop that, because consciousness is going to be back in. Real shit is going to become trendy again. I had an interview called Prison to Power, okay, with a brother named Kent Osborne. I was 19 years old. And I said in that interview, I said, I'm going to make being woke a trend. I said, I'm going to make wokeness and positivity trendy. I said, I'm going to make people feel like because I'm smart, it's some shit to be. I said, I'm going to make people see my intelligence as something to want to be. You understand? And now look around. Now everybody is going after it. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You with me? So because that true light is where I was bringing them to, right, then they were able to see the whole picture. And now you got brothers out here who y'all don't even know. We put them there. But it's fine because all this is going to come around full circle. And they made it. I'm proud of them. I can see them. You with me? And they shining in their own way and finding a way to get more people to come over where we at. And we got a lot more to do in that regard. But the point is, J. Cole knew me or met me at 18. He was one of the ones I had a conversation with about going to college and everything because I couldn't go. I had a lot of shit going on. And I had to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. But I remember after we had that conversation, we sat there for 25 minutes. I did the lyrics for him, rap for him, woo. Right? That's when I met J.I.D., the rest of them niggas. Right? Who was there when he wasn't there. At one of them houses over there by Carver. They was out in the cut somewhere. I realized after that conversation we had, J. Cole switched up in his direction of the music. He started coming out with songs like Meditate. No, it was Meditate. All right, I seen him on BET performing, had all the people with all white. Right? Because we had a long conversation and everything he was saying, I'm like, I was talking to him about that. Right? So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he gonna come around full circle and be a part of this shit that we doing. It never happened. It never happened. It just stayed what it is. It's rap. It's just fucking hip hop. Same reason why people are thinking that Kendrick Lamar was going to be able to do something. Kendrick Lamar said in the music, he was like, I'm not your leader. I don't know what y'all think this is, nigga. You ain't, people still trying to figure out where did Kendrick Lamar go? With all of that prowess, all right, with all of that ability, why does it seem like the ones who are the most capable in hip hop to do something with hip hop did nothing with it? Come on. Except do music. Now you're going to have fans, you're going to have people that this is what it is. Okay, cool, we can have a hip-hop conversation. I'm a real hip-hopper. We can have hip-hop conversations. But they didn't do anything with the movement itself. Hip-hop is not just some brand. It's not just some business that you make money off of. Hip-hop was a movement from the beginning. You walked a certain way. The reason why we called you a hip-hopper is because you literally walk with such an umph in you that your hip-hop. So when niggas say, who the fuck are these hip-hoppers? And nigga, you find out who the fuck we are. Fight the power. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And niggas had to find out. But then they threw in niggas like MC Hammer. They said, can't touch it. That's not us. That's not what we were saying. We wasn't doing that. We don't know where these niggas come from. You know what I'm saying? Can't touch it. That's why Tupac was like, yo, why the fuck is we calling this hip-hop? You can't say that about MC Hammer. I can say what the fuck I want to say. You know what I mean? Any of these people that came through, then Soulja Boy, why does Soulja Boy need to tell us anything? So what can Soulja Boy tell us now? Why do we need to, girl, shake that lappy tappy, that lappy tappy? And I was the only one walking around saying, this is stupid. You know what I mean? You had all my peers, I'm 6, 7 years old. They're like, come on, baby, shoulder lean. It was on Mario, and nobody called me Faise. Shoulder lean to the shoulder. I'm like, why would I do that? Well, let me know why I need to do the shoulder lean. Just let me know what is the purpose of this. I was a child who I started rapping knowing that we could do something with this shit. So every time a dancey dance song came out that meant nothing, I was confused. I was like, why are these the songs that people is fucking playing? It meant nothing. Whoever the Yin Yang Twins is, those shit y'all calling culture. All right, when I hear music and motherfuckers were talking about selling dope, I used to want to leave the whole environment. Then we would go to these, listen, they used to have little school dances and shit. When I was in school, I'm 5th grade, you had the stanky leg, what's it, stanky leg? I don't know how the fuck the shit even went. You know what I'm saying? But the stanky leg song, you just do the stanky leg, do the stanky leg. And like, come on. I'm like, why? Why do you understand what they telling me to do? They telling me to do the stanky leg. My leg don't stink. I'm trying to figure out why do I got to do it. If your leg stink, that's you. I'm not trying to judge you. Everybody's situation is, my leg doesn't actually stay. I'm looking, my shit is good. Niggas was walking around looking retarded. Why me beef it up? I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why do I got to watch you? No, I don't want to see this bullshit. Get me out of this. I'm not a part of this delusion. You with me? So this was what people was rooting for. So I never got with that program. You with me? Hip-hop was never supposed to allow that shit because it was a movement. It was a movement. Say what you want. These same bitch-ass niggas who are elders now, who be just sitting on podcasts talking about every new thing that happened every 3 days. And y'all know what I'm talking about. These niggas who done turned on niggas who done put them on just so they can have a podcast opportunity, just to run their mouth every fucking day about absolutely shit. You understand? Them same niggas talking about some hip-hop was supposed to evolve. Please explain to me when evolution meant go backwards. Please explain to me when right? You was evolving from that, right? Or you were evolving from fight the power. Or you were evolving from, you headed from self-destruction. You headed for self-destruction. Okay, that's evolution, right? We wasn't supposed to allow NWA. We were never supposed to support them. Only NWA shit that was supposed to be supported was fighting the oppressors. Right? When you said for the police, coming straight from the underground, a young nigga got it bad because I'm brown, okay, let that through. Other than that, all that kill a nigga and shoot each other, we're not supposed to allow that. We wasn't supposed to allow a lot of shit, but we allowed it. Thug life should never took off how it took off. We should have regulated that. That's why Pac said, listen to what we saying. He said, and listen to what I'm saying. He said, and hold us accountable. Right? We were supposed to regulate hip-hop. But we didn't regulate it. Niggas wanted gangster music, so niggas were making gangster music. Because niggas wanted to make their money, wanted to sell their records. You know what I'm saying? So now we in this point in time where now it's like Phase 1 ain't really saying nothing different that the elders didn't say when they was trying to figure out what we was up to. You know what I mean? Like, what is it that we doing? So they could have came and talked to us and figure out what the disgruntledness was happening, and then we could have worked together and bridged it. But because it didn't happen, I'm saying that whole music industry had to go. That whole drill shit, all that shit had to go. And anybody who's a real one, you know I wasn't saying no bullshit. You know I wasn't coming from no hating place. Anybody who listened to that Letter to the Baby, you know that wasn't no hating record. You just know. Anybody. I don't listen, if I get in a ride and I play that Letter to the Baby, there's not a single person here that didn't nod. Niggas who probably don't even know who baby was, they head nodding because they can hear. You know what I mean? The Letter to Sexy Red, you know that's not a diss. The Letter to Farrakhan, you know that's not a diss. All right? And you know, if you've been walking, that I sent you to where you were going to be able to pinpoint why these letters were going to come. Because I had a mixtape when I was 13 years old that I had put out when I think I put it on SoundCloud when I was like 15. All right? Somewhere around the time. Actually, it was 15 that I made the mixtape. Yep. I put it out when I was 15 on SoundCloud. You could be able to find it right now. It was called Letters from a Watcher. Letters from a Watcher. Go look it up. All right? And it had 13 songs on it. Mm-hmm. So I've been writing letters. You go look up Letters from a Watcher and you will see what the whole shit was about. I said I'm writing letters about what I see while I'm here in this earth realm with you. Okay? So when I wrote a letter to Lil Baby, first of all, I observed the fact that he went off grid. After that shit came out, remember Said and them was like, yo, how much you want for a show? We trying to book you ASAP. Y'all remember how the niggas did all that shit? And I posted that up and we went big about that. And they realized, oh, he ain't finna be quiet. And they've been telling me to be quiet since 2018 when I called the whole Atlantis out. And when I say Atlantis, it's for a reason. And you will understand where I am or who I am when I'm saying Atlantis. You understand? And this is the music mecca of the world. The heartbeat of the world when it comes to music now. Listen what I'm telling you, because it's the same conversation over and over again. Right? Remember they were doing all that bullshit. Then Lil Baby disappeared. Blacked out the page. And he heard me. Listen, I'm telling y'all. Listen to what I'm telling you. He heard me. And he heard me on a soul level. He heard me on the soul level. A level that, as an artist, you can't shake it.
Facts.
You can't get rid of it. They can try to kick it to y'all. But this artist shit is nothing to play with. With art, you can make a song that changes the whole world. One song can change the state or the condition of a whole world. Are you with me? Artists are magicians. We grab this pen and we get to writing and it becomes what we say. Are you with me? So if you don't have, which they didn't, what is referred to as that psychic self-defense setup, okay, where me is like, I don't give a fuck what nobody said. Nobody niggas like whoever the bald head ass nigga Sanchez was, Bro Sanchez, Bro Sanchez said he gonna dispose you. I said just make sure he spell my name. Last time he put the F1. Make sure he don't do that this time. Make sure he spell the shit all the way out. If you're gonna expose me and help me get promo, well then make sure that people know where the fuck to come to. Why the fuck you put F1? It's like you trying to do a double whammy. That's not fair. You gotta do it the right way if you're gonna expose me. You understand? I don't give a fuck what nobody say. There is nobody who can expose me. You might see me go onto the Young Elder show and say Faise won't expose. That's the only one who can expose me. Because what would you expose? What are you going to expose? I am me. I am going to reflect truth at all times. It's who I am. You understand? So if you don't have that psychic self-defense already set up, when somebody put out a song and it's mentioning you and it's bringing you forth, remember I told you, we ain't just calling them out. We're calling them forth.
Facts.
It's a difference. All right? So you might see the call them out, but you know the science behind it when I tell you, no, we calling them forth. They got to respond. Right? And they're not going to respond how you think they're going to respond. That's why he's saying in the song, he said what? He trying to diss me to blow up our people. I can't respond. I just go at your people. He can't respond. But why can't you respond? Because you've been advised. Your spiritual advisors telling you not to respond. The people at your label telling you not to respond. I don't have nobody who can tell me that. I don't have a single person who can tell me, don't write a letter to Farrakhan. There is nobody. Because it's the soul that drives that pen. If it ain't supposed to string through how it string through, when you listen to Letter to Sexy Red, if you've never heard a spiritual song before, go listen to Letter to Sexy Red. It's spiritual. And for me to be able to still cuss and the shit still be spiritual, right? But people say, I don't know. Some people's confused in the comments. They're like, I don't know how to feel. He's cussing, but you don't got to feel. You just got to listen.
Facts.
You got to listen. That's why I said in the Dungeon Cry song, I said what? For all you Christian rappers, this shit is war. This is not a trend. I said, you scared to cuss. No doubt in my mind that you scared to die, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you scared to say that you scared to drop an F-bomb. Okay, cool. You're scared to die. You're afraid of death.
Facts.
You be the same one who say, show me who it is. Tell me who it is so I can kill him. You be the same one when we say, yo, one of you amongst us is going to try to betray us. Right? You say, surely you don't mean me, my Lord. Yeah, we mean every one of you who opens your mouth to say, surely you don't mean me. That's what we mean. It wasn't just Judas who we was talking about. You're afraid to die. You understand? Because as soon as they came to Peter and said, yo, hold on, watch out. Ain't you the nigga? Ain't you, I know you. You was with the nigga who we about to crucify. Bro, I don't have nothing to do with that. I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know the man. Mm-hmm. He said that shit 3 times. They gave the man 2 times to correct his shit. They asked the nigga again, there was different groups of people asking him. And on the 3rd time, it never dawned on him that Jesus already told us that he was going to do that shit. You with me? And he denied him. Just like you said. So it's the people that's like that saying that they wouldn't do that shit. They'll be the first ones who turn away from you. They'll be the first ones who betray you. So if you ask yourself, am I speaking about you? Yeah, we're speaking about you. You with me? I don't have anybody that I have to respond to. I don't have anybody who can tell me, don't put this out. I don't have anybody that's, listen, everybody who walking with me is already walking with me. If you near enough to me to be able to see that green light, and you know it ain't some shit that's just coming off this light bulb, Okay, people already know. Don't tell that man no, because they're going to make him do it.
Facts.
Don't tell him he can't do that. It's going to make him want to do the shit more. Because something in you told him not to do it. Go listen to these songs. They spiritual songs. So how does it, it's like this. People say, yo, you're clout chasing. You're trying to go for clout. Right? I said, that's the fucking point. You only made clout chasing negative because just like I told y'all about those elites who don't want you to come up there with them or surpass them. That's another thing. You surpass these so-called elites if you actually put your good foot forward. All right? They want you to think clout is a negative thing. They want you to think attention is a negative thing. But they're clout chasing every time they put out a fucking... Do they just drop music without promo? No. I mean, let me tell you how clout chasing could work. I could be trying to promote my album, and I could stage getting arrested, and I could be out the next day, and I could cause a whole uproar about an album nobody even know I put out.
Come on now.
But now everybody know I put out. I'm just throwing it out there that this is what the fuck everybody does. So when I do it, their problem is they're trying to say it's clout because they don't want it to work.
Come on now.
They don't want it to work. But it's working. And people are hearing. And a lot of people saying the same thing. Say, why didn't we know you were here? Why am I just finding out about this person? Let me tell you why. Because they put up a black wall. Right? Or a black ball. And they didn't want anybody to see what was behind it. And I've been swinging on it. I used to say when I was young, I said, I don't give a fuck if it's bulletproof glass. If you punch on it long enough, it's going to start cracking. And the moment it start cracking, all right, your punch is going to start hitting harder, and next thing you know, you broke through. They didn't want it to happen, y'all, because they know what I'm going to give people is like, I don't want you to follow me. I say walk with me. You don't got to follow and believe nothing. I say walk with me. If you want to support me, that's fine. You support me. I appreciate you. We're going somewhere until I can't go anymore. That's what this is. So, yeah, it is clout chasing. If you want to call it that, I don't. You see that? It's not going to click from. I don't give a fuck what you call it. It's going to work. And what you think is working now, you ain't seen shit. I can go viral tomorrow. I keep explaining. Don't you understand? The minds of men are simple. You know what I'm saying? I can go viral tomorrow. I can get on here tomorrow and be like, fuck young boy. I can not on the live. I can make a video and act like I'm so upset. Let me tell you how it can work. I told people how this can work, right? I don't know young boy. I can get on here tomorrow and have my clothes ripped. You know what I'm saying? Have a makeup artist, put the little blood, scratch it. You know what I mean? My hair messy, whatever the fuck. I can be limping and shit. You know what I mean? I can be recording myself. Say, y'all niggas did that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. Y'all took my chain. Y'all took my chain. Y'all said, fuck Gay Trade. Fuck young boy. I will be on the Shade Room tomorrow. And then y'all gonna come on here. It's gonna be 3,000 people on here. Right? And I'm gonna be on here. No, the makeup gonna be wiped off. Hair nicely plaited. Nice suit on. And I'm gonna be explaining the science that you didn't know you needed to know. And I'm gonna be letting you know what these elites are doing. Nigga be like, what the fuck? I thought it was fuck your money. Oh no, that was the ticket. That was for you to get here. I didn't know you had one. Let me get one of those. Yeah, that's for everybody to come. And now that you're here, let me tell you what this is about. Let me tell you what they've been hiding. Let me tell you what they're planning. Let me show you what to look out for. Let me give you the keys and the secrets. And if you've been listening to what I'm talking, some of y'all realize I'll say something that I already said before. If you ain't picked up on it yet. And you got to realize what I'm doing when I say it. Right? Or what I'm showing when I say it. Or you might realize I'll speak about an event and I'll speak around the event. And then the event blow up. And then I'll show you why I spoke around the event. But you're picking up on it either way. Even if you don't know it, when I speak, your subconscious knows who I am. When I speak, your unconscious you knows what's happening. So if you know it, let me tell you, those other so-called elite who are referred to as stars of your planet, okay, these guys who have been idolized for far too long, they know the voice. Against God. You with me? We go viral tomorrow. I might do a poll, be like, on my story, say, do y'all want to go viral today? Yeah, who can stop me? That's the question. Who gonna stop it? You understand? I've already been approved by the only approval that matters. I've already been appointed by the only appointing that matters. I've already been anointed by the only anointing that matters. Do your worst, and I'll do my best. You feel what I'm saying? So Michael won, y'all. Michael won album of the year. I told you the dragon does not prevail. And it might have seemed like there was a delay in that message coming forth, but Michael won. All right? And even though Casa Knot was screaming at the screen and nobody had the answer for him, when he said, who decided this motherfucker? Somebody should have been on there and said, a guy who was called Phase 1 of Atlanta. They don't call him such and such of such and such anymore. All right? They call him Phase 1 of Atlanta. And so Phase 1 of Atlanta says something and it happened. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Michael won. Just like I said, Michael would. And it was already written that Michael wins. So Casa Knot. Let's deal with Casa Knot for a second. Because I always thought the name was interesting to begin with. But I remember the shit that took place with JT from the City Girls, Casa Knot, and some 10-year-old boy, like it was her nephew. And they went to this event, I think it was Rolling Loud, and they had strippers all around the 10-year-old boy, right? And he was supposed they were teaching him how to throw the money and stuff like that. Yeah, Casa Knot there, some other niggas, some other weirdos. Because anybody who allowed that shit, you gotta be a weirdo. Nothing clicked in nobody's mind and say, yo, this 10-year-old shouldn't even be right here around this. And JT saw how people were responding to it, and she posted another slide on her story and was like, I made sure they gave my nephew 50 feet. JT, you made sure you told a bold-faced lie. Because all them pictures and images would have shown that it was a dancer literally 1 foot away from your nephew, bent over, and y'all was showing him how to throw the money on her. And they were trying to argue this. They said it's not a strip club, it's Rolling Loud. I don't give a fuck if them niggas was walking up the hill politely. Whatever they was doing, whatever action came with whatever the fuck they was doing that action with, that child should never have been there if there were strippers there. So all of a sudden people want to forget what the fuck strippers is for. Strippers are sexual adult entertainment. They've always been. If you're trying to switch it, you're the weirdo. If you're trying to switch it, something's wrong with you. If you're trying to switch it, you're probably a part of the group of people who thought when Boosie said that he allowed for his 12-year-old son to be statutorily raped by whoever that prostitute was that he paid to come and perform oral sex on his son, you probably thought that was okay. You probably let niggas as 12-year-old have girls over, do all kind of shit in your communities. And that's the fucking problem. That's the problem. So I remember Casa Knot being there. I said, damn, that shit is weird as fuck. Right? I look into the Casa Knot breakdown. So the Casa Knot name itself, the word Ka was said C, S-E-A, right? And the word Sanat is like the word Senate, okay? You go look up, this word Sanat is like Senate. And it also was Senex. And Senex was saying, like if you say Senex in, what you call it? What's the shit they used to have, the lingo? What's the lingo, y'all, they had with the fucking, when they say finna or dinner, guapanese, I think what a nigga would call it, right? When you saying it like that, Senex, you saying sex. But in all actuality, the Senex is saying an old man or old being or olden, all right? So the C being Kai and Sanat being the old man was something that was referred to as Leviathan, okay, or Leviathan. Now, I just watched this movie called Lift. I watched it less than a week ago, okay? Kevin Hart came out with a movie called Lift. I didn't know why I was supposed to watch the shit. I thought it was going to be cheesy. I mean, I wasn't into shit. But I still went to go look at it. The first thing that stood out to me was the lift word itself, but the fact that the I and the F inside of the lift word had a plane in it. Right? Let me tell you, when I'm teaching y'all this and these explosions are happening genetically for you and these memories are coming and you have these eureka moments, meaning you're finding the gold, okay, it's very important. All right? You're going to learn how to do this yourself. Because a lot of y'all are doing this. As a matter of fact, some of these things I came on here to speak about, some of y'all brought to my attention. Some people literally sent it to my DM and say, yo, you heard about this, or you seen this, or look at this, or pay attention to that. Y'all are starting to do it yourselves, making the connections. That's what it's about. All right? So I looked at this. I'm telling you the whole breakdown. I'm like, okay, lift with the plane in the center. All right? If I'm saying the word plane and the word if, all right, together, because that's where the plane was over, the IF. What is the word plaintiff? Listen, I want to see, can y'all catch on? Plaintiff, plaintiff. The word if is in the center of the L and the T, which LT is the abbreviation of the word lieutenant. Okay? And if you go look up the word lieutenant and you find the etymology of that word, you'll find that lieutenant meant placeholder. which means that when I'm looking at this, that the L and the T are just placeholders. The I and the F is the actual sign or the actual message that's being conveyed in code. All right? So the word plaintiff is plaintiff. And the word plaintiff was saying an accuser. Okay? In the law. The one who was bringing the accusations. That's the plaintiff. All right? Or Shaitan. The actual accuser. They spoke about it in the book of Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. Okay? So look at what I'm telling you. You got the name of the movie is called Lift. Some people ain't gonna catch it yet, so you're gonna realize how deep this shit get. The name of the movie is called Lift. Remember, we still breaking down Casanat. And how he showed up and was screaming at the screen saying, who decided this motherfucker? Who decided that Michael wins? Who dares? He said, over her loss, over Metro Boomin, who says who? He had a hat on. And that hat that he had on had an angel on it. Go look at it. All right, write a note down, go look at that shit. The hat that Casanat had on had an angel on it. Remember, Michael is the angel, Mikael. And on the cover of the Michael album, all right, for Killer Mike, there was the halo over Michael. All right, so he was wearing what? The hat that had angel on it, okay? Or the angel on it for Michael. But he also had on a shirt, and his shirt said, beware of the money man. And the on it. Everything I'm telling you, go look at it. You say, damn, why is this? Right? I'm telling you why. It has to. He didn't have to say shit, but he did. He didn't have to say, who decided this? But he did. It all lined up exactly as it's supposed to. All right? Not only did he have on a shirt that said, beware the money man, which if you don't know who the money man is, the money man in the scripture is called Mammon. Mammon. And we were telling you, you cannot serve two masters. All right? Because you will grow to love one and hate the other. You can't serve God and Mammon. But why did they use that word Mammon? Because Mammon was saying riches or wealth or money. All right? So that money man is Mammon, and it doesn't make sense to you, well, then you should be asking yourself, why the fuck was there an upside down cross on it? Because that's the one who goes against God. You can't serve both of them. You understand? So watch this. He had on some shorts with the upside down, what was it? SP5DER. Okay? Which is spider with the 5 in the center. All right? If you got the Out of the Darkness book, you know that I explained to you that Trouble, who was a rapper, was killed by a man called Ja Michael. Can you make this up? You really can't. You could try. Ja Michael. Ja Michael killed Trouble. And Trouble's name was Mariel, okay, Simonte Or. And Mariel Simonte Or was literally saying somebody who was a star of the sea, Simonte, sea monster, okay, who came up under the pale light or the dark light, or O-R-R. Go look up everything I'm telling you and ask yourself, why was the man's name Ja Michael when Ja means God and Michael means like the angel, one who was like God? Okay? You have to realize what I'm teaching you how to do. A lot of people claim that they can code break, but you got to be able to see through the veil. Names, people, events, all of this happens within streams of coding. And once you learn how to decode them, you know why all of these things show up in your life. And in your life, which is all of your lives, are connected together through this web. All right? And I already told you who's over that web. The spider. All right? And that same spider wanted the web to be what trapped you, but that's why the hidden secret of Firefox shows up in the movie Knowing, because Firefox was repeating what the book of Peter was saying, that it wouldn't be the water, listen to what I'm telling you now because it's going to mean something, that destroyed this world this time. It'll be fire. So that Firefox emblem showed a fox of fire going around the world. What will happen if you put fire to a web? It incinerates it and alleviates the issue that comes with being trapped, okay? Freeing the minds of the people. That means you're no longer believing, now you're knowing, which means you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. They injected the word Set there so that Set could be in your mind. Because Set is the one who was called Bab. Go look it up. And Babylon is saying Set's pylon, or the gate of God, Babylon. And that God is none other than Set. And what happens when the sun sets? It becomes dark. And that fire is not blazing, apparently, to you. Are you with me? Which is why the knowing was all about the sun. Y'all with me? So he had on some shorts that said Spider with the 5 on there, the pentagram. Okay? He had on a shirt that said beware of the money man. He don't even know what the fuck he doing because he can't know. All right? Remember, pawns and the people who's playing the games, 2 different people. I'm not even on the board. You can't say, baby, you a king on the board. I'm not on the board. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing the game. These niggas sit on the other side of me. You know what I'm saying? The actual ones who they call the Illuminati, the Bilderbergs, whatever you want to call them, they sit on the other side of what we own. We playing them. These other pawns and other stuff, that they don't even know what they're there for. They just get moved around. That's why when you see me post pictures and images, and you see the white, black, white, black, white, black, white squares, and you see these pawns up underneath it, I'm telling you that who I'm speaking about is a pawn. All right? I'm telling you that these are not the add-ups. The same reason why I can tell you Travis Scott didn't have nothing to do with what took place at that concert. He's nowhere up there in rank. If anybody, it would have been the Kardashian family. They the witches. Travis Scott, not even a warlock. I mean, meaning he never even reached the level of witchery or to be a witch, to become a warlock. He never reached that. You understand? So he was not the one who was behind any of that stuff. The devils were actually in the crowd. It wasn't Travis Scott. He didn't know what the fuck was going on. You understand? That shit was above his head. They had the whole NRG energy event set up with the monster energy, all that shit. He didn't have nothing to do with that. He was just a fucking pawn. You get what I'm saying? So you got to know the difference. So watch this. Consonant shows up with the shorts on that say Spider. The shirt said beware the money man or the mammon. All right. And a hat that's an angel. Okay. Which is the same conversation. And he's talking about the Michael album, which is speaking about an angel. All right. So when you go back to read Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 27. All right. They were saying in that day, okay, or that specific time period, the Lord, okay, was going to come with something. I got a song on my album called Sore Loser, all right? Michael album called Sore Loser. They said the Lord was going to come with that sword, all right, and have a strong sword with him. And they said that they was going to pierce and attack Leviathan. Go read the book of Isaiah 27:1 so you can get the shit verbatim. All right, but they said they were going to attack Leviathan. And that Leviathan was the dragon of the sea. One of the translations for Leviathan is what? Dragon. Stay with me now, because we still on that breakdown. So the Lift movie, okay, this is called 360 Teaching if you don't know. We go all around, but it's going to bring you right back to the circle or the cycle completed. Okay, circumambulation is what we taught in the order. All right, in the movie Lift, there was a group of terrorists. If you go look up the whole plot and everything, I watched this shit all the way through. But there was a group of terrorists. And those terrorists used floods. All right? That was their whole thing. They was able to flood cities. Sound familiar? And they were called Leviathan. So if you were to look at the word lift, L-I-F-T, all right? Because we already found the accuser or Iblis in the word lift. So we already know who they're referring to with the lift. All right? So you look at the L-F-T or L-I-F-T, and you take out that vowel as if you were speaking the Hebrew way, all right? You have L-F-T. When you go L-F-T, when you say lifter, lifter, then you switch that F to be a V, all right? Levita, levita. Then you take that T and turn it to a D, levita, levita. Then you take that DV, the LVD and flip it around to be DVL. You got the devil, all right? Now you might called Leviathan 666. Stay with me. In the book Leviathan 666, Dr. Malachi York was breaking down about how they was going to come out with a Luciferian movement, okay, or a one world order. All right? So Leviathan shows up as these people who are able to use the waters, which is the sea, to flood cities. Okay? And Kevin Hart was in that movie. And I was explaining to people, I said, all you got to do is pay attention to the signs. All you got to do is look at what they're trying to show you. So what signs will break all this down or build this all up to show you what this will lead you to? What was Killer Mike holding when they took the picture of him for his Grammys? Because he had 3 Grammys, which means he had 3 pentagrams. Because that's what the Grammy is. Remember, it's 5 points, so 5 stuff. All right, pentagrams. All right. He had 3 Grammys. And those Grammys were trumpets. Who remember the 9th Hour album, where I had a song called WYA, Where You At? Right? And in the breakdown of the bridge of the song, I say, why you moving like you don't hear them trumpets? Papa, shit confusing to me. Why you cruising like we ain't finna bomb shit? You must ain't tuned in, right? Trumpets. I spoke about the trumpets. I stay close. Don't walk too far away. Michael, who was called Killer Mike, was holding 3 trumpets. Now, you have to ask yourself, well, how many trumpets were there all together? There were 7 trumpets. 7 trumpets all together. What are you talking about, Faise? I'm speaking about the book of Revelation and how they said there were going to be 7 chapters 8 through 11 of the book of Revelations. Now, I'm going to draw the Leviathan symbol for you. This class, now you got to pay attention. This ain't just somebody running their mouth talking about ascension and frequencies and higher levels. You got to really pay attention so you can catch up and people how to do this. All right? I'm going to show you the Leviathan symbol in the book of Revelation. Right? So we got the infinity sign at the bottom. Okay? Then you got a line. Hey, y'all, we finna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. Hey, y'all know the fast start in less than an hour. All right, so everybody who's going to be doing a fast, we got a 2-day fast, that 7-day fast. Like, a lot of people was like, he was like, hell no. I think a lot of people stopped at around like 3 days. Some people stopped at the first day. I don't know what it was. But the 7-day fast that we did on January 17th, it was very necessary. It's very urgent, very essential. But a lot of people didn't complete it. So I'm doing this one. I know we're going to be doing one at least once a month, right? That's the plan. I'm doing this for 2 days. I shouldn't see nobody saying they didn't make it. You know what I mean? It's just like that reminder where it's like, remember your willpower. I shouldn't see anybody saying I couldn't do the 2 days. Okay? I didn't make this no 5-day, no 7-day. Listen, everybody can do this. Everybody could have done a 7. All right? I'm not trying to put nobody down. We wouldn't be able to move forward to the blue light until you've mastered the green light. And the green light was all about what? Willpower. It's been about willpower. You shouldn't still be struggling with will by the time we get to the blue light. That's not something that you even have to struggle with anymore. And I literally was explaining to people, I'm going to show you how to access willpower by just fasting. That's how you access it. When you deny the body the simplest necessity, okay, the most basic or primal necessity, or the primitive instinct to eat or consume a thing to be able to survive because it thinks it has to do that. When you go beyond just that, what seems to be involuntary process, which already set into the subconscious in the nature, and you say, I'm going to consciously decide to go the opposite direction. When you do that, that's when you access the willpower. I gave you the word, the key word, the tone word, or the sacred word for that whole green light movement was what? Mashiach. And notice I just spoke in past tense. All right. Now, again, a lot of people are still trying to figure out what the green light is. I have to remind you, willpower, Mashiach. Go look up what Mashiach means. Mashiach. Mashiach. All right. And you're going to find that it means will. And it sounds like what? Messiah, El Messiah. Okay, so you're finding the Messiah in you. And it's important that you find that because the elect have to be right there with the Lamb on top of that mountain in order to produce that new blue sun or that new blue sound that I've been speaking about since 2022 in the How to Love Again book. You understand? So remember, willpower, 2 days. Keep yourself busy. Complete a task. Meditate. Rest. When you feel like it's time for you to eat, whether it's a snack or whatever, take this time period to read a book, find more information about a thing. You know what I'm saying? Watch a documentary
enrich and enhance yourself. Okay? It's going to set into the subconscious as alteration of habit. And if you got the rehab book, you already know from the rehab book what the habit word means. Okay? Not saying just the definition, but how it ties into the habitat. Okay? Meaning the habit is basically where you're at. And where you're at is affected by your habit. So you want to change your environment epigenetically, you can do that. But when people say it starts within, they're speaking about a change of mind. That's why I say everybody must repent. Okay, remember what I told you all that science? We came on here, I said everybody has to repent. Before I even broke out the, the green light, the science of the green light. Before we sparked off the movement of Project Greentown, okay, I said everybody has to repent first. Okay, anybody who went and got that green light, they repented because they literally changed their mind. And if you didn't know what I was about, if you stuck around, you say, wait a minute. If anybody is on this shit every day, it's this nigga Faise 1. If anybody's on this every day, it's him. You know what I'm saying? He ain't stopped it. He's still on it since I met him. Whenever you met me, listen, I don't have to ask you when. If you ever met me to be here right now, since you met me, you see I'm still working. You see I'm still moving. Okay? And the plan is in my hand. And the divine got a plan beyond all of that. You understand? Remember what we're doing this year as orators. Okay? Aiders of the light. All right? And I explain to you what the light is or the true light is. Okay, and associated with the tones of Anu, Eliun, Eliun, El. Okay, in the book, The Holy Tablets, he speaks about a letter. Okay, and I'm writing all these letters, and we reminding you of the letter of the divine, and don't let it be misrepresented. Okay, don't let it be something that's been perverted. Don't allow them to pervert the letter. I told you what the letter was. Did I not? I said, y'all see me writing these letters. What is the letter? Who remembers what the letter was? I said, if I do a letter to Sexy Red, if I do a letter to 21 Savage, what is that letter? It's the same letter, every letter. You think it's a different letter, it's the same letter, and it's all dealing with the spirituality. What is that letter? That letter is G. You understand? I'm giving you the keys. All this right here. And that key or that G is, matter of fact, I'm going to do a live tomorrow. It's going to be called You Can't Die. You understand? You cannot die. All right, and you're going to hear more about that because I'm going to show you why in the song Q, I explained about the green light and the white, okay, orb or the white garb, okay, or raiment that we spoke about in Revelation chapter 4, verse 4, okay? So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm going to come on here and explain why you cannot die. If you're talking about ascending, then you cannot die now, all right? You're going into beyond mortality, immortality. Okay, beyond what you were when you first took this first step to take on this journey, you've already suffered a death. All right. Remember, we get to a point where death eludes or a death is separated from a person. Okay, death has no more sting. I'm going to explain to you what that means, by the way, because we're speaking about assuming a type of essence or position that associates you with nothingness. Okay, which to associate yourself with nothingness is to associate yourself with everything that could have possibly been. All right, that's what you really mean by source. That's what the Buddhists were teaching. That's what the Sikhists were teaching. That's what everybody was trying to explain to people. That Sheba or that G, because Sheba meant what? 7. All right, in Hebrew. Sheba was also speaking about an oath or a sign in Hebrew. Okay, and it was that letter G, which is that key or that Gaia. All right, or that central point called Kitab or Ketub. Okay, you had to bring yourself back to the center. Sheba was silent. Okay, and Sheba literally means that which is not. Okay, so death no longer has a sting. Okay, and even life itself doesn't have a burn to it. You understand? And you're going to understand what I'm saying. So eventually you're going to be able to get that science. So we're going to come back on here tomorrow and we're going to do You Cannot Die. You cannot die. All right. I love y'all. Peace in the Lamb is truly wonderful. Letter to T.I. is on the way. If y'all want to help that, if y'all want to support Letter to T.I. to make sure that it happens tomorrow, I can go do that shit tomorrow. If you want to support that, then just send a donation in right now. Anybody, everybody. You can send like $2, $5. Everybody on here to send something, we'll definitely do it. You know what I mean? I got brothers and sisters who already been sending stuff in. But if you want to support that effort, all right, that whole everything, then just send a donation in. If you want the books, I got 10 books right there. You see it, Play for Change. Send your donation and your email, and I'll send you the 10 books. All right? So I haven't sent out the next wave. So if you're wondering why you didn't get your book, we haven't sent it out in the last 3-4 days. Okay? But they're coming. It's a whole email blast that's going to be sent out. All right, you're going to be getting them.